It started at 9 o'clock this morning. The sky opened up. It poured for about an hour. Haven't had any rain since that time, but there are showers, as you said, expected.
It's Mercury Hayes, number 9, who's back with Clarence Williams, not Toomer. Toomer returning punts. And Mike Chalberg will do the kicking as usual. He is a senior out of Auckland, New Zealand. Headed toward Mercury Hayes, who takes it at the 4. To the 20, and that is it. He's blasted by Craig Sauer. And Brian Greasy will be starting at quarterback, son of our colleague Bob and the Hall of Famer. Here are the Chili's starting lineups, the backs and receivers for Michigan. Greasy, a sophomore out of Miami. And of course, Scott Dreisbach dressed but not able to play yet. They expect him back next week. Biakabatuka trying to bounce outside and got maybe one to the 21 before he's thrown back. Craig Sauer, number 16, on the stop. Big John Runyon, the leader of that line, as we look at the Chile starting lineup, backs and receivers, with Biakabatuka expected to carry the ball a lot.
This is a very fast group too, Steve. As a matter of fact, Biakabatuka 783 yards last year, 800 already this year. He's that kind of talent.
Greasy's first pass, an out route to Amani Toomer, incomplete and out of bounds. A little pressure from Craig Sauer that time, Minnesota's fine linebacker. And here's the big guys up front.
Boy, they are big too. They average 290 pounds. Now look at Runyon. He is special, big time player. The scouts love him. We talked yesterday to some of the scouts that are here at Michigan. They love his balance, they love his feet, they love his hands. This guy's a big time player, and he plays like he's not nearly that size, 6'8", 300 pounds.
3rd and 9. Biakabatuka on the delay has the first down. Just tripped up as he crossed the 30 and falls forward near the 35. Rishon Early, the free safety, number 42, made the tackle.
It is incredible to me what he can do with his feet. The ability to change direction at high speed with very few steps. He doesn't want to be known as a slithering finesse runner. He wants to be known as a tough runner, a finisher. But look at him here. He just never gives up his body to the tackler. He never gives him a shot. He's constantly slithering and moving with his shoulders.
Biakabatuka weighs 210. And he has the ball again. Big hole to the 40, maybe to the 41 for a gain of 5 or 6.
It's off to a quick start. He had 111 yards last week.
Let's take a look at the Golden Gophers defense. The Chile starting lineup with the defensive line and linebackers, and a change up front, Tim.
Well, there is a change up front. Holmes moves over because Antoine Richard, who is the left tackle, is out. So Green then takes the right tackle spot. Jerome Davis was highlighted. He's the defensive line's top player. 26 tackles, 2 sacks on the year.
On 2nd and 5, this time the ball given to Chris Howard, and Chris Howard has a first down. Out to midfield and maybe into Minnesota territory. Howard, a sophomore from River Ridge, Louisiana. Here are the defensive backs for the Gophers.
Pretty good defensive backfield too. There's good speed back there. You see Rodney Heath. Rodney Heath is a junior. He has 5 interceptions in 6 games. First team Big Ten. He's number 5 in the nation in interceptions.
Another Michigan first down at the Minnesota 49. Greasy has lots of time. Over the middle and complete to Toomer. Amani Toomer down to the 35 of Minnesota, in the grasp of Rishon Early, the free safety.
You know, you keep talking to the Minnesota coaches. They tell you it's a young defense with more speed than they've had in the past. But right now they're on their heels. They're playing without any confidence. Look at all the time that Greasy has and just throws a strike over to Toomer. Amani Toomer just worked into the zone. He was wide open. Nobody closed on him.
And it was a gain of 14. Biakabatuka picking his way, fumbles the football. Still loose on the ground. And Minnesota has recovered. Michigan driving, and Jerome Davis, number 59, appeared to fall on that football for Minnesota.
See what he does with the ball. Here's Biaka Batuka, tries to dodge the safety and just has it taken away. That's an outstanding play by 42 Rashawn Early, who stripped him, and the ball's loose. Now the mad scramble, and you see Richard, 58, who's in the ball game now, recovering it for Minnesota. Now that's a huge turnover, and I'll tell you why. Because Michigan was having its way with Minnesota's defense and was sure to score. They were already in field goal range, and then they put the ball on the ground and turn it over.
So here's Corey Sauter leading the Minnesota attack. And the first carry by Raphael Cooper goes nowhere. Cooper playing for the injured Minnesota running back Chris Darkins.
Yeah, but see, there is the difference in experience. As you look at Corey Sauter, Cooper doesn't have the experience, didn't bounce outside. Sauter's done a nice job this year. As a matter of fact, he ranks 3rd in the conference and 16th in the nation in passing efficiency.
The sophomore of Hutchinson, Minnesota. They'll go from the shotgun on 2nd down. Inside handoff to Cooper. Makes the first guy miss, but short yardage, and that's it. Irons right there. Jared Irons to knock him down after a very short game. So let's check out the Chile starting lineup for the Minnesota offense.
Cooper, Levine, Thelwell, Woodson, and Ream. Tell you this about Thelwell. He's got 40 receptions already this year. He's had 10 catches against Northwestern, 6 touchdowns, and averages 13 yards a catch. He has to have the ball today. They've got to get it to him.
3rd and 10 on the blitz, and a completion to Woodson, which may be enough for a first down. Johnny Woodson coming back for the ball in front of Brent Blackwell.
You know, Steve, we talked to the coaches in Minnesota, the offensive coordinator, Bob DeBoss, and Bob DeBoss tells us that on 3rd and long, they like to go to Woodson. The guy can just separate from defenders. He works himself free, knows where the stakes are. Here's another indication of that. 3rd down and long, they go to him, they get the first.
At the 40, Minnesota's own 40. Sauter with a quick out, but short hopped. He underthrew the intended receiver.
It's a flag down. It came all the way out of the pocket of the back judge down at the 30-yard line.
And he's like 50 yards away from the play. And it may be they didn't get it off on time. No, it's against Michigan. Now, why would he point to Michigan? I think he may have pointed the wrong way.
Defense.
It is the defense.
12 men on the field. 15-yard penalty from the previous spot. First down.
Well, see, sometimes it's easier to play this game when you have 12 guys.
Of course, makes a huge, especially defensively. Here's the Chile starting lineups for the Michigan defense.
Well, you look at Irons. He's a big-time player. He's the leading tackler, 6'1", captain. He's a junior. 44 tackles already this year. He's on the 10 semifinalist as Butkus Award candidate. Quality player.
First down, Minnesota blitz, and they got him. Jarrett Irons was in there before Sauter could do anything.
Talk about him, and he responds. His 2nd sack of the year. Leads the team in tackles every year. Was the only freshman to do that since Eric Anderson. Well, I tell you, Gerald Irons' son came through clean this time. Watch 37 right side. Nobody picks him up. They try to cup. They pressure the outside. It came with the blitz, and Irons goes inside where nobody is, and he goes untouched for the sack.
On 2nd down, almost intercepted. 2 Michigan defenders. Mike Elston, a linebacker, number 5, was there. And then Rob Sweat, another linebacker, had an opportunity to pick it off, and neither could come up with it.
Steve, this is the play that they scored on last week. It's a waggle. Play action. Come back to the backside. Now he goes to the tight end. But I'm going to tell you something. When Elston looks at the tape, he's going to say, how did I miss this thing? That pass looks like it was intended for Mike Elston, number 5, and he dropped it. That should have been a pick.
Now that brings up 3rd and 14 for Minnesota at the Michigan 49. Sauter again from the shotgun. Fakes the inside handoff. Incomplete and out of bounds, intended for Ryan Thelwell. And Minnesota will have to kick it away. So Garrison Harmon, averaging just over 35 yards a kick, comes in. Punting has not been one of Minnesota's strong suits, and Amani Toomer, who is one of Michigan's strong suits, returning punts, is back at his 10. Pretty good kick. Toomer's going to just let it go into the end zone, and it is well in and out of the end zone for a touchback, a 49-yard punt. Michigan will have it 1st and 10 at the 20. No score when we come back.
That's for the condescending bank teller. That's for that lousy waitress and crappy coffee.
The cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet. Bud Ice and 96-calorie Bud Ice Light. Chilled below freezing for a taste that's smooth to the extreme. Hewlett-Packard printers. Printers that work almost as hard as you do. And Chili's Bar and Grill, where steak lovers go for great grilled steaks. Michigan recovers the ball, and it looks like Derek Harvey got down there in a hurry.
Well, I don't believe that. They call that the sunshine kick. They try to pop it up and try to get their down players, the outside players, down there as fast as the receiving team, and they did. This is to perfection. Watch the sunshine kick. Put it up high. Put it up with the sunshine. Now get guys down. Now look at the left hand of your screen. The dark jerseys are there before the white jerseys. That's perfect. That's the way it's got to be. That's the way they have it. Special teams gets one.
Freshman linebacker David Bowens out of Pontiac, Michigan, injured on the play, but it looked like he came up with that ball after it bounced off a couple of other players. And now we have a Minnesota player down.
I watched Auburn try that kick 3 times against Florida. Never did work because Florida's speed. Here, Michigan tries it for the first time today against Minnesota, and you could see the speed differential between Michigan and Minnesota. The Wolverines were there before the white jerseys.
They were all over. Mark Tangen, a tight end for Minnesota, appears to be injured. We will take a timeout and be back in a minute.
Take cold. Take taste. Take smooth.
Initially, I think as he went for the football, he may have gotten a burner in his neck, but now he's thankfully walking off the field right now. We'll update you on the Michigan players who are still down 2. Steve?
Thank you, John. And Tangen, the junior out of Oakdale, Minnesota, up and moving, as John said, but let's take a look and see if we can see how it might have happened.
Another look at the sunshine kick again. You can see the Michigan players there first. They actually almost caught it in the air, which is certainly legal. See the right hand of your screen and see if we can catch the injury. Right there, going in head first. Don't see it really well. But
I think initially Ernest Sanders, number 31, might have hit Tangen in the back of the helmet with either his leg or thigh. Biaka Batuka ripping off another big run for the Wolverines inside the 20 before Craig Sauer can bring him down. Once again, an update from John Saunders.
Steve, and we talked about Nebraska chasing Florida State in the polls. Well, Florida's right behind both of them. Danny Werfel here, 14 yards to Ike Hilliard, his 8th touchdown catch of the year. Then 2 yards to Chris Doering, and 14-0 out of the gate against Georgia. The Gators with the lead. Steve.
Thank you, John. Boy, those Bulldogs full of problems and injuries, and Florida, of course, ready to pound them. Biaka Batuka again, picking his way inside the 5. Touchdown!
Well, Biaka Batuka, he doesn't want to be known as a finesse guy, wants to be known as a tough runner, and boy, he was that time, carrying tackles into the end zone.
He got behind big Zach Adamley and John Runyon and went 16 yards for his 2nd score.
Michigan has now outscored its opponents 111-22 in the first half this year. Look at Biaka Batuka, 6'1", 200 pounds, 111 yards last week. Boy, he's out to a quick start already this week. He's got about 70 yards.
He ran right through early to get into the end zone. Remy Hamilton, another extra point is good. Hamilton has missed only 1 this year.
I said he had 70 yards. He's already over 100 yards. He's now rushed for over 100 yards for the 10th time in his career.
And here we are, still just halfway through the first quarter.
Doesn't seem possible.
We'll take just a short break. We'll be right back.
This. He's hit at the 7. He's hit at the 7-yard line and carries tacklers into the end zone. Where it was early, he got there late, and Biakabutuka scored.
And they have scored quickly. They have a lot of drives under 2 minutes this year.
So far, this has been a total mismatch. Minnesota hadn't even come close to stopping Michigan.
Jay Feely's going to kick it off. Paul Cradaville, the tight end, returning it up to about the 30.
You think there hasn't been a rushing differential in this game? Michigan has 113 yards. 106 of those belong to Biakabutuka. Minnesota has -4.
Man. Well, the Gophers need to get something going right here after the 2 quick scores by Michigan. Corey Sauter at quarterback. Cooper, good hole. Raphael Cooper with a big run for a first down. Out to the 45. Chuck Winters, the free safety, had to make the tackle.
Give Jim Wacker a lot of credit. He's not panicking. He's not throwing every down. He's coming out, staying with his game plan. You know, the Michigan coaches told us, Raphael Cooper, who's from Detroit, right here in Michigan, they recruited him hard. They said, you know, we think eventually this young sophomore can he be even better than Chris Darkins is. He's quick. He's powerful. That time he exploded. And if they get a couple more of those, then they'll be able to throw the pass effectively and get some offense.
Sauter now will go from the shotgun on first down. Inside handoff to Cooper, and he will go nowhere. Big William Carr waiting for him. And a loss of 2 on the play. See Washington out in front of USC early on a field goal. As always, we'll be bringing you scores all afternoon on what has happened and is happening around the country. Look at this one. Ohio State, they may be the best team in the country. And Northwestern came back to beat Illinois. Second down, 12. Sauter will go down at the 35. Glenn Steele coming from his defensive end position to get the sack.
Talked about Cooper being a sophomore. This is Corey Sauter as a sophomore. And he's got to learn now. 1001, 1002, 1003. He's got to unload that ball and no pressure's coming. Number one, you're playing a dominant defense. You know that they're coming somewhere. You can't sit back there and hold the ball. You either have to unload it, but you have to avoid the sack. He doesn't have quick feet to start with.
Now it's 3rd and 19. Sauter trying to roll away from the pressure this time. Gets it away. Incomplete, intended for Ryan Thelwell, who could not hold on at the 46 of Minnesota. Charles Woodson had the coverage.
It's all right. That was a well-designed play. They did take Corey Sauter away from the pressure, rolled him out away from the rush. Thelwell wouldn't have had a first down anyway, so that's a good solid play.
So Garrison Harmon on to punt again. He had a beauty into the wind his first attempt. Amani Toomer standing back at the Michigan 15.
Now they do have to cover because Toomer returned one last week, 56 yards.
Line drive shot, and it's going to bounce out of bounds outside the 20. They'll mark it at about the 22. And Harmon with a pretty good punt, especially when you consider no return. Well, tonight on ABC, spend Halloween at a great party. That party is going to be on the Jeff Foxworthy Show. That'll be followed by Maybe This Time, and then Bette Midler and Sarah Jessica Parker star in the hilariously spooky network premiere of Hocus Pocus. That's all new and all tonight right here on ABC. There's a little spooky right there.
Yeah, but speaking of trick or treat, no treats for Minnesota and a lot of tricks by Michigan so far in this game.
Now Chris Howard is in at tailback for the Wolverines, and he has the ball. Short gain of about 2 or 3 short of the 25.
You know, the return of Chris Howard really has helped Biakabutuka. It takes the pressure off of him.
But you think he's key today?
Well, I really do. I mean, the winning edge today, when we talked about what Michigan had to do, we said Biaka Batuka had to have 20 carries. Well, he's already over 100 yards. And the big play from the receivers, we're talking 15 yards or more. They're certainly capable of that, especially the way Minnesota is missing tackles.
Play action on second down. Greasy has lots of time, and he's going much longer than 15 yards. Amani Toomer, touchdown, Michigan. A 75-yard bomb.
We said the Michigan receivers had to have some big plays, 15 yards or more. You're right, this one is much more. I'll tell you what, quarterback controversy. How about Greasy? They say his arm isn't that strong. Wrong. This ball is not only thrown deep, but it's thrown well. He never breaks stride. Toomer took it in stride and took it the distance. Boy, that ball was perfectly thrown.
Remy Hamilton's been busy. He'll try yet another extra point. It is 21-0 Michigan with 4:47 left to go in the first quarter. And Amani Toomer ran away from Rodney Heath, a guy who can really run in that Minnesota secondary.
Boy, Toomer, number 18, he ranks first on Michigan's all-time single-season receiving list with 1,096 yards, just separated from the defenders. I mean, he had Heath and just said, if we're even, I'm leaving. Broke it to the inside on the long post. That ball was perfectly thrown, and Toomer just ran away from the defensive back. The great ones can separate from the cornerbacks. He did, and made them pay. Boy, he had 6 receptions against Minnesota last year.
Another big day for Toomer, and another quick scoring drive, to say the least. 44 seconds for Michigan. Hey, next Saturday, more college football here on ABC, beginning again at 3:30 Eastern. These Michigan Wolverines will be taking on Michigan State in that traditional rivalry. Penn State will battle Northwestern, and there'll be other regional action. So be sure to check the listings for the game and time in your area, and check with your cable operator to see which games may be available pay-per-view. Raphael Cooper takes the kickoff. Tripped up. Flag goes down at the 20 as Cooper was tackled by David Bowens.
Well, I tell you, they just can't do anything right. Illegal block in the back by Minnesota will move them back even deeper. You know, coming into this game, we said Minnesota had to do a couple of things to win. Number one,
illegal block in the back. Receiving team
had to stop Toomer. That was one thing defensively, and had to wrap up defensively. But offensively, Minnesota had to get Cooper involved and make him effective. As a matter of fact, he's got to get 80 yards today. That'll help the passing game. And they also have to protect Sauter, and they have to limit turnovers. Well, they had one that should have been picked off, and Sauter's already been sacked once, so they aren't doing that. Minnesota's got to get it together here and start working effectively, because so far they've been run out of this stadium, and it's 21-0 with a lot of time left in the first.
Now, on top of everything else, they get a penalty, and they start now deeper in their own territory, just inside the 10. Already down 21-0. Quick drop, quick throw, and a completion to Johnny Woodson, but a short gain. Clarence Thompson had the coverage for Michigan.
Here's a case where Minnesota got what it wanted. It got Woodson out one-on-one with the cornerback, but because the ball was underthrown, he went down on his knees to catch it. Once your knee hits, you're down.
That's going to bring up second down and about 7. Four wideouts in the game. And a running play. Javon Jackson in a tailback with another short gain of a yard or two is all, out to about the 15. Jared Irons, the leader and leading tackler, making the stop.
He's all over the field. Michigan now starting to use a lot of players. We see Rasheed Simmons come into the game now at one defensive end. You know, Javon Jackson at running back now taking Cooper's place for a little bit. Has not played that much. Young sophomore. He's got 21 carries and 134 yards on the year.
Cooper back in, and he has the ball. Good hole. Cooper with a first down. Out to about the 33 before he's dragged down by Charles Woodson and Clarence Thompson in the secondary. It's a first down, Minnesota, a sorely needed first down.
When Cooper came in last week, he really gave Minnesota a spark. when Darkins went down. They were very excited about what he could do this week. Now, we've seen some signs of brilliance. He's got great explosion through the line. You can see he's got jingle joints, moves away from guys. They just have to be able to open things up, mix things up so they aren't keying on this guy every time he touches it. Got to hit some passes.
Now they've got some room to possibly do that and throw the football out at the 33. Play action. Sauer flips it out to Cooper out of the backfield, makes a nice cut and gets to about the 41 before he's dropped again. Charles Woodson making the stop in the secondary.
And because of the success on first down, it brings up a very good situation for Minnesota now with second down and short. So now you can pass or run, and Minnesota just can't tee off on them and just lay their ears back and come.
And they bring Javon Jackson back into the game at tailback, replacing Cooper. Second down, about 3. Jackson cutting it back, has the first down into Michigan territory at the 49, tackled by Clarence Thompson, number 17. Let's go down to John Spagnola for an update on those injuries. John.
Okay, remember that violent kickoff the collision we saw in the kickoff. Mark Tangen, the tight end for Minnesota, just went off the field. He has a concussion. He will not return to action today. Ernest Sanders for Michigan is fine. Back to you, Steve.
Thank you, John. That's good news on one side at least, and obviously a concussion is a serious problem, but it for a while looked like it could have been worse for Tangen. Michigan now has called timeout, or Minnesota. Minnesota's called timeout with 2:12 left to go. Hey, at the conclusion of today's game, we're going to be selecting a genuine Chevrolet Most Valuable Player of the game from each team. To date, Chevrolet has contributed almost $5.5 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. In the first quarter this year, Michigan has now outscored its opponents 69-3.
John Spagnola, how's that turf down there? We had that heavy rain earlier this morning. How is that turf?
That turf is fine, believe it or not. You know, they have a real good drainage system here. They have prescription turf, but they have a vacuum plumbing system that actually sucks the moisture out, and that's been running since Thursday. So they're real pleased with the turf. They cut it down to 1 1/8 inch. It's the lowest it's been cut all year, Steve and Tim, and that's because they don't have to worry about the grass being burned out now with the sunshine this time of the year. So this turf seems to be ready to go, and all the players seem to be enjoying some pretty good footing.
But you know what, Spags? The only guys that have been slipping down, the Minnesota guys. I don't know if they're wearing different shoes. Biaka Batuka has had no problems, obviously.
That's right. Well, keep in mind, Minnesota, you know, this is the first game on grass this year, only their second game outdoors. Every other game has been on AstroTurf, the Carrier Dome, the Metrodome at home, and at Michigan State last week. So they're going to have to adjust to game time conditions with the grass surface like this.
That's a good point. They're outdoors for only the second time this year.
No, first time. They won't get it the second time till they take Iowa on.
They played at Syracuse, and of course they have a dome.
Right.
And of course all the Minnesota home games are in the Metrodome in Minneapolis. Michigan now with 231 yards in the first quarter.
Problem with the clock right now is holding the game up. They've got it squared away now. 2:22 remaining.
So it's first down. Minnesota has moved from inside their own 10 to midfield. Trailing 21-0 late in the first quarter. Javon Jackson back in at tailback, and then Sauter may be audibleizing. Steps up, and it's complete. Tutu Atwell has a first down, or will be very close to it at the 40. Run out of bounds by Chuck Winters. And again, let's get an update from John Saunders. John.
Steve, we showed you Nebraska scoring quickly against Colorado, but the Buffs come right back. John Hessler 18 yards to Phil Savoy, but then Hessler has thrown an interception. Nebraska has the ball deep in Colorado territory. We'll keep you up to date. It's tied right now. Steve.
Second down and 1 as Atwell was a little bit short. Raphael Cooper trying to get it. Bounces outside and irons finally runs him out of bounds, but he gets more than enough for a first down as he gets just inside the Michigan 35.
He's got good quickness, doesn't he, Cooper? 5'11", 194 pounds. Really hadn't gotten a whole lot of playing time because of Chris Darkins. Darkins came into this season as a Heisman Trophy candidate. But now with the injury, Cooper gets some playing times. And again, I'll tell you, the Michigan coaches say they recruited him out of high school, and they like him. They said he can be better than Darkins. He's not just a speed guy. They say he's got power, he's got balance, he's got good instincts. He just needs some playing time.
We've got another Michigan player down. It appears to be Clarence Thompson in the secondary for the Wolverines. Shaken up on that play at the point of the tackle. Well, no, he was downfield from the point of the tackle, about 10 yards. 11 left to go in the first quarter. Play action. Sutter looking long. Thelwell incomplete. Thelwell almost had it, and Charles Woodson almost had it, and nobody wound up with the ball.
First of all, that's the first incompletion by Sauter in this drive, and it was so close to being a touchdown, and as you said, so close to being a pick. Watch this. First of all, Thelwell's 6'2". He's going up against Woodson, who's just about his size, so he throws it up for grabs. Here goes Thelwell first, but watch this. You talk about an athlete. Woodson, 1, 2, now reaches behind him and still almost gets it, and he's a true freshman. This time last year, he was playing for Ross High School.
Fremont, Ohio. Javon Jackson, and Jarrett Irons comes through to drop him for a loss. Well, his daddy was a pretty good one in the NFL too, wasn't he?
Gerald Irons could play. Jarrett can also play. That play right there by Michigan takes Minnesota #1 out of field goal range. Also brings up 3rd down and long. So while they were down to the 35 with first down in a great situation and went for it all, obviously now they're in some trouble here.
Yeah, it's 3rd and 14, and this is the 10th play of the drive for Minnesota.
4 wides.
Over the middle, bouncing up in the air and picked off. Intercepted by Marcus Ray. And Javon Jackson makes the tackle near midfield. The Michigan defense comes up big yet again.
Turnovers, turnovers, turnovers. They've killed Minnesota the last 2 years in big games, certainly against against Michigan. But here, this ball is well thrown. This is not Sauter's fault. Watch him. He gets plenty of time, #1, then steps up and drills the pass. That should have been caught. I almost thought it was pass interference. Then Ray, he's just reading. He's playing center field, free safety. He's playing man free, sitting back there. He's got his half on a 2-deep end zone. He just took it high, picked it off. That's an easy pick for him. But watch this. #1, see if the contact is before the ball gets there. Awfully close. That right hand was there. The ball's well thrown, and then here comes Ray. And that 2-deep scheme, he just kind of rolled up, had the easy pick and the interception, and all of a sudden, instead of the threat by Minnesota, now it's Michigan that has it in Golden Gopher territory.
And it is Marcus Ray who is shaken up. He's a redshirt freshman out of Columbus, Ohio. And when Javon Jackson made that tackle, it came down very hard on Ray. Ray got up and then went back down on the ground. Almost a delayed reaction. And he may have just had the wind knocked out of him.
A lot of times if a player gets up and feels something that's just not right, doesn't want to take any chances and shake it all up by running off, just sit down and make sure everything's in place. He's hitting his rib cage, and he's holding that a little bit while he was on the ground.
Well, there were a slight smile gracing the faces of the trainers, so hopefully not too seriously. Let's go down to John Spagnola. John.
Well, while Brian Greasy continues to impress, Scott Dreisbach warmed up on the sidelines today. He, of course, has the pins removed from his hands this week, and he should be throwing next week. The hard thing is going to be whether he'll be able to take the snap from center. Back up to you, Steve.
Freshman Clarence Williams at tailback down to the 34 of Minnesota. Crawford Jordan, the strong safety, had to make the stop. And you talk about USC being tailback U. I think Michigan's making a case for being tailback U with the guys they've got.
Yeah, but I'll tell you this, Steve, and the Minnesota coaches, they will also tell you that Minnesota's making them look a lot better than they are. They're not wrapping up. They're not making tackles. They aren't getting to the ball. They certainly aren't running to the ball. There's not enough pursuit there. They've got to get more people surrounding the ball carriers.
Ed Davison at tailback takes the fakes, and Greasy down the middle. Mercury Hayes can't quite get it. Crawford Jordan had the coverage again, and when the running game is going, boy, that play action passing works almost every time. That ball just a little bit overthrown. Gracie 2 of 5 for 89 yards and a touchdown. And look at that yardage difference. Chris Howard now into the game. The I formation with George Howell at fullback. Howard banging forward. And he'll only get about to the line of scrimmage.
Good play that time by Ralph Green. Big old number 95, 6'1", 280-pounder. Got rid of his block, got to the ball. They just want to melt that clock, get out of this first quarter. This has been a nightmare for Minnesota.
And you see the clock running. 3rd and 10. Chris Floyd now in at tailback. Gracie with lots of time all day, but he can't find anybody open, and he's wrapped up by Ben Langford. Finally, the linebacker Langford tracked him down, and that's a coverage sack if there ever was one, as time runs out here in the first quarter. It has been all Michigan, 21-0.
It's a mismatch, just like the game has been. 156 yards rushing for Michigan. You see the one turnover. That's the only time Michigan hadn't scored on a drive yet. They're going to try a field goal here.
Remy Hamilton on 4th down and 11, trying to bang through a 52-yarder, and it is no good. It was long enough, but it was off to the left. The wind has died down considerably, and of course the way Michigan Stadium is built down, the field level being below ground level, there can be wind at the top of the stadium and not much happening down on the field.
But you know, I'm going to tell you something. That's a big stop by the Golden Gophers there, because we were just talking about that one turnover by Michigan is the only time they hadn't scored. Now this was a genuine stop. They actually stopped them. Now they're going to a hurry up scheme here. No huddle by Minnesota.
Sauter just brings the team on with the play called. Raphael Cooper at tailback. First 10 at the 35. Sauter the out route, completing to Johnny Woodson. The ball came out after the tackle was made by Charles Woodson and Steve King. Short gain again, just a couple of yards. Minnesota's also, Tim, got to do a little better on first down if they're going to move the ball against Michigan.
Yeah, but that's the second time, Steve, we've seen them go to that wide out, trying to get a one-on-one situation out there. And they've had success completing the pass, but have been unable to get him into that one-on-one situation, because the first time the pass was low. The second time he had to leave his feet to go up in the air. You want him to catch it, turn, and now you got the one-on-one and let him run by the guy.
Yeah, that's a good point. 2nd and 8. Cooper, flag goes down as Cooper breaks a tackle at the line of scrimmage and maybe has enough for the first down out at the 45.
They're going to bring this back, though. It's going to be holding against Minnesota.
Well, when that umpire throws the flag into the line of scrimmage, it's almost always holding. And that is the indication from referee Steve Pammon. And just what Minnesota needs. They rip off an 8-yard run and wind up having a 10-yard penalty and a loss of total 18 yards.
Jim Wacker's frustrated. He came into this ball game knowing they had a good game plan. They thought they had a chance here today, and they find themselves down 21-0. Offensively, they've been able to move the ball. Defensively, haven't been able to stop Michigan yet. Just that last possession and then the turnover.
Well, the ball would have been at the 45, and now it's all the way back at the 23 of Minnesota. So a huge difference on that penalty that wiped out Cooper's run. Javon Jackson into the game as he goes in motion, and Sauter will go from the shotgun. Good protection and a completion to Thelwell, who's up to the 40. Rob Sweat, number 44 at linebacker, making the stop on Ryan Thelwell. That's a gain of 18 and 4 or 5 yards short of the first down.
Tell you what, he's a big-time receiver, though. 6'2", 186 pounds. He averages 13 yards every time he catches the ball and averages 7 catches a game. So they've got to get it to him more. He's going to get somebody hurt, though. Dropped his mouthpiece.
Early in the second quarter, Michigan leading 21-0. 3rd down and about 5 yards to go. Sauter Trying to get away from the pressure. He will not get the first down as he's bumped out a couple of yards short at about the 44 by William Carr. Big William at 270 out of Dallas. Do you think William's 270? They got him listed at 270. I don't know.
Oh, he's a big one. Out of Dallas, Texas. He's had a couple of sacks. He can move.
Looks a little bigger than 270 though. 4th down, about a yard and a half to go, and Jim Wacker says nope, we're going to punt it. So Garrison Harmon on, and Amani Toomer drops back. Toomer inside his 15. Harmon now faking the punt, throwing a pass, almost intercepted. It was almost picked off by Diolo Anderson, who played it beautifully. He was not fooled. Michigan gets another break as they will take over now in Minnesota territory.
Had it set up pretty well. He's just got to get that ball out there a little bit further. Park Williams looked like he was behind the guys and the ball was underthrown. Well, Jim Wacker, he's going to his bag of tricks, and when you have it fail, boy, here comes Michigan now, and they've got the ball at the 44. When you give Michigan that short of a field to work offensively, it's like running downhill. We say that every week, but it's absolutely 100% true when you have an offense like Michigan does.
Minnesota's only been able to stop them once, and Biaka Batuka has it again. What moves? Good tackle by Heath, though, as Rodney Heath came up and cut the legs out from under Biaka Batuka. But Tumunga, or Tim as they call him, has got such quick feet.
He's a great story, too. You know, when he was 16 years old, Biaka Batuka, a phys ed teacher, asked if he wanted to play on the brand new football team the high school was forming. He said, "You've got to be kidding." He said, "What are you, a sissy?" He says, "I'll be there." He's been running ever since.
His family from Nigeria. He's out of Quebec, Canada. Came into this game averaging 5.5 yards a carry. Over 100 yards a game. Toomer on isolation trying to get the first down. Slipped. And a lot of guys got there to help Justin Kozemius, who was the first Minnesota tackler there. And Kozemius really one of the leaders on the Minnesota defense. One of the few seniors also.
Well, I'll tell you this. Toomer, Hayes, Reamersma, they give you quality targets. I mean, Toomer's 6'4". Look at him. In this case, I think he would have been better off just taking it and getting the first. He was right up by the stakes and then gave ground trying to get the big gain.
Now it's 3rd and 1 from the 35 of Minnesota. Greasy throwing it up and out to Mercury Hayes, incomplete. Trying to hit Mercury a little slanty, and Terrence Blaine had the coverage and is shaken up on the play.
That one just got away from Brian a little bit. Kind of sailed on him. He knows it. Crowd wants him to go for it, and I think that that's exactly what Lloyd Carr is going to go on 4th and short.
And we've had not only a lot of yards already in this game, but a lot of guys hurt. And some injuries. Blaine's a junior out of Missouri City, Texas, and they're working on that left knee, it appears, and that is never a good sign.
No, it's the first thing they always do is a trek.
Sneak under the clouds, actually.
Not only a great school, great town. Ann Arbor had a chance to get out amongst them the other night. And then the ABC group went over to Grazzi's restaurant, had a very nice Italian dinner.
Well, is this Halloween or what? Or is that supposed to be a Wolverine? I don't know.
I think it's just a sophomore.
Biaka Batuka trying to pick up the first down. It appears he is short.
He did not get it.
Michigan comes up short, and Minnesota will take over on downs. And that's something that the Minnesota defense really needed. And Jerome Davis leads the charge.
Hey, I'll tell you something. For Minnesota and Coach Wacker, that's huge. That's 2 straight stops now against Michigan. So now the defense is starting to kick in here. They've stopped them twice. They've got to get the offense now from killing itself with penalties, because they've been able to move the ball effectively.
Yep.
But every time they get a big gain, they bring it back with a penalty.
Or a turnover. Park Williams, the young linebacker, moved to middle linebacker just a couple of weeks ago, shaken up on that play. but he's walking off under his own power. Man, dropping like flies. It is 1st and 10 Minnesota at their own 35. 11.5 minutes to go in the second quarter, the first half. And Sauter goes from the shotgun. And he misses the snap. Bad snap. Now he's got it under pressure and just throws it away.
Smart play, too. Smart play by the young sophomore Corey Sauter. Snap was on the ground, took him all the way back near the 10-yard line, so he just threw it away. You know, he actually had Cooper open to the right. Now, Cooper's standing right next to him in the replay. Now, watch, see number 5? All right, here comes the snap. All right. Sauter picks it up, goes back to the 15, inside the 15, and throws it away, but Cooper was open over in that direction. But that's still a smart play by Sauter. Just get rid of it. Let's get back to the line of scrimmage and start over.
Sauter now 6 of 12 for 51 yards passing and an interception. Cooper, a lot of traffic in that backfield. He does a good job just to get back to the line of scrimmage. Ben Huff, number 53, who's in at defensive tackle with good penetration.
It's going to be
officials
holding.
Are conferring. Yeah, there's a flag down back in the backfield.
I think Jesowitz was the guilty party here. Wacker says, come on, give us a break. Let us play.
It's a face mask penalty against the offense.
Think Jim's happy?
Face mask. Offense. By rule, that's a 15-yard penalty.
Man.
Replay, second down.
Not only do you not see it very often, but it is a killer. A 15-yard penalty that will move the ball back to the 17.
You know, that's hard to watch too, because you get your hands out if you're an offensive guy. Watch Jesowitz right there in the middle of your screen has his hands up, and he just got him above the shoulders up and got caught in the face mask. So instead of holding, they call face mask, which is automatic 15.
So now it is 2nd and 28, and whistles stop play, as we may have had some preliminary movement.
Todd Jesowitz. There's Jesowitz, number 75. He is the center, and when he got out his hands, he extended a little bit too high and slid up under the face mask. At best, you'd say, all right, they're going to get me for holding. But they didn't, because he was high. They gave him the 15. That takes him all the way back to the 15-yard line.
Well, as Steve Pam and the referee said, by rule, it's a 15-yard penalty. I don't know if that's right.
Disregard the flag. There's no foul on the play. The ball is down by contact. Third down.
The ball is down by contact. So apparently, Minnesota may have been trying to drive or to pull Michigan off sides, or may have been one of the Michigan guys jumped. Centers are taught to snap the ball, and Sauter could have just taken a knee, but Michigan did not jump off sides, so it's just a down, and now it's 3rd and 30. Sauter has time. Long way to go, and it's intercepted by Woodson. Thelwell makes the tackle on Woodson, and flags all over the place on the tackle. A ball well overthrown, and Thelwell had to turn into the defender in a hurry. And it'll be against Minnesota.
Has 2 face mask calls in the last 4 plays.
Face mask.
Now, without the penalty, this would be a pretty good play. It's an interception, but it's as good as a punt. All right, now watch and see on the tackle if Thelwell gets up on his face mask. There it is. That's 2 in the last 4 plays. And again, we talked about penalties and turnovers killing Minnesota.
Well, this one only a 5-yard infraction, but it does move the ball to the Minnesota 49, where Michigan again gets a short field to work with. 10:51 to go in the second quarter. Chris Howard in at running back. And he has the football, but nowhere to go. In fact, Minnesota tackling the football. The ball is out. Minnesota thinks they've got it, and the officials say they do. Minnesota gets the ball right back. Rashawn Early picked up the football. So now it is just like a punt.
Well, that's right. Now take a look at this. Here comes the play. Here's Howard now. He has the ball stripped. It's already loose. Now here comes Early, 42, out of the left hand of your picture. Boom, comes diving in. Ball's still loose. Early picks it up and Minnesota gets it back. So that is 3 straight stops now for the defense.
Looked like it might have been Lamanzer Williams who forced that fumble. So Minnesota at their 49. First down, and this one misconnecting. Johnny Woodson went in, the pass went out, and Clarence Thompson diving for the interception, couldn't come up with it. It'll be 2nd and 10.
You know, even though Minnesota's down 21-0, they've got to be patient with the run game. The passes have to be quick. Obviously, he can't take that 7-step drop because there's pressure coming. He's already been sacked. They mix up the formations and personnel, but stay with the game plan.
4 wideouts in the game now as they try to spread out Michigan's defense on 2nd and 10. Whoops. Nobody to hand off to as Cooper went one way, Sauter went the other, and Rashid Simmons brings Sauter down for a loss. Cooper came to the near side, and Sauter was looking for him over there.
It's got to be the worst feeling in the world. You come out, you look right, there's nobody there. Whoops, I'm supposed to hand this thing off.
He almost handed it off to Simmons.
One thing you will not see from Sauter is quick feet.
Now,
so Smart just took it down.
Now it's 3rd and 17. Back at the Minnesota 41. 3rd and long, 3rd and long. Play action. Sauter under pressure. The ball is loose. Was his arm going forward?
Yes.
No, they're going to say that it's down. The officials marking him down right there. Joaquin Fizel was the first guy in there. And Minnesota going backwards again. The Michigan defense gets a huge hand as the Gophers will have to punt it away.
Boy, they're going to punt, but watch this. See if his arm is going forward. I definitely thought it was coming forward. Here comes the pressure. His arm was going forward.
I thought so. But Garrison Harmon now will have to kick it back near his own 20.
Minnesota can't buy a break.
Amani Toomer, a very short kick, lets it roll. Michigan's going to have outstanding field position again at their own 43 with 9:17 to go in the first half. 21-0 Michigan. It's been that way since the first quarter.
It's color.
As it was just a 23-yard punt into the wind by Garrison Harmon, and it's 1st and 10 at the 42. Chris Floyd at the 43 rather. Chris Floyd picks up a couple, tackled by Kevin Holmes, number 93.
You know, you talked about the 23-yard punt, but also Minnesota got a bad break back there on their 3rd down situation, because there was no question in my mind Sauter's arm was going forward, and they marked him down saying it was a fumble and recovered. Watch his arm, and you tell me this isn't an incompleted pass. His arm is going forward right now and continues to go forward. That should be an incompleted pass. They lost 10 yards on that, then the only 23-yard punt. Michigan again with great field position.
Greasy goes down under pressure on the play action pass. Their fine senior linebacker Craig Sauer blitzing, getting in Greasy's face. And let's go down again to John Spagnuolo and see what's happened with one of those injured players. Spags.
Number 25, Terrence Blaine, on the sidelines, twisted his knee. You can see his left knee is wrapped in ice. It's a sprained knee. I'm not sure if he'll return to action, but right now he is definitely out, and that's a blow to that Gopher defense and that secondary. Steve?
That's something they don't need. They've already had enough blows as it is. Thank you, John.
That means Craig Scruggs now playing at left corner. 3rd down and long. Defense has made 3 straight stops against Michigan.
Play action again. This time Greasy has time. Gets it away, and Toomer with a leaping catch for a 1st down in Minnesota territory. And it is Craig Scruggs who had the coverage on it.
Talk about Greasy being a cerebral quarterback. I don't know if he made this play or not. Now they're going to say it's incomplete.
Well, they got a penalty flag.
Yeah, there's also a flag down. But watch this. They went right after Scruggs with Blaine out. Scruggs is a freshman. He's only 5'9". They send Toomer over there, who's 6'4". There's no shot.
Just enough for the 1st down on an 18-yard gain.
15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, 3rd down.
So the ruling was it was complete, but because of the chop block, they bring it back and replay the down after they mark off the penalty. And this will be 3rd down and a taxi ride.
Well, you ain't kidding. not only that, an 18-yard gain is wiped out, plus a 15-yard penalty, similarly to what happened to Minnesota early at the other end of the field.
These guys will have to get almost 40 yards to get it. Here comes the chop block. You can't see it there, but boy, I tell you what, this is 3rd down and forever.
3rd and 38 is the calculation. 3rd and a quarter mile. Greasy almost slipped. Got it away. Complete. Short of the first down, but a big gain out to the 41 to Mercury Hayes. Let's check in again with John Saunders.
All right, Steve, thanks a lot. Nebraska and Colorado, and the Cornhuskers opening up some breathing room, at least momentarily. Tommy Frazier to Cluster Johnson. 12th of the season for Frazier. That ties a career high, 21-7. But then Henry going in for the touchdown, fumbles the ball. Lucky for him, Heath Irwin recovers it for the touchdown. It's 21-14. Steve.
Thank you, John. That's a heck of a game going on there. This is Michigan's first punt of the day. Nate DeLong averaging about 39.5 yards a kick. And one of the guys Heath called looked like he called for a fair catch. I guess not. Tutu Atwell took it. A 43-yard punt, but that was almost disaster for Minnesota as Atwell and Heath came together. And it looks like Nate DeLong, the Michigan punter, shaken up on the play.
Boy, that could be big right there. Nate DeLong averages 40 yards a punt. You know, that's 4 stops. You mentioned the first punt of the day, but they've also had 4 stops. Stopped them on 4th, turned the ball over.
Oh,
whew. Fair game. Kicker is fair game when that ball is released.
Barry Moore, number 43, on special teams.
Of course, I don't know if he was in the play.
Blasting him, and you know, obviously DeLong didn't see him coming. Punters aren't used to that either.
One heck of a lick. Defensively, Minnesota's starting to play pretty well.
Big difference from the first quarter when Michigan went up and down the field to lead 21-0, and that's where we still are with 7:38 to go in the first half.
Wolverines on their very first possession ran right down the field but fumbled. The next 3 possessions they scored.
So while DeLong is attended to, we'll take a break. We'll be back in just a minute. I don't know whether it was on the first act or the second.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty. It's still first down.
So Carr made contact, and it's going to be 5 yards against Michigan.
You know, it's 21-0 Michigan with 7:37 to go in the half. Average play yards per play. Michigan is averaging almost 10 yards every time they touch the ball. Minnesota just over 2 yards. That's the big difference here.
And Minnesota has had the football a long time here in the first half. At the end of the first quarter, the time of possession was similar. Michigan's 3rd penalty for 40 yards.
You know, you just have the feeling, though, that Raphael Cooper's going to break one big here soon.
1st and 5. Cooper has the ball, big hole, and Jarrett Irons closes it quickly to drag him down short of the first down. He got some help from free safety Chuck Winters.
We talked about Cooper being from Detroit, Michigan, just down the road, recruited here at Michigan. Decided to go to Minnesota, but I'll tell you this, he has 32 people here at the game today because he's right down the road. Had to buy all the tickets.
Family plan. 2nd down, about 2. Minnesota spreading them out again with 4 wideouts in the game. Again, Raphael Cooper getting the first down. And Woodson doing a good job in the Michigan secondary of jamming things up at the 40, or Cooper would have gone a lot farther. Hey, tomorrow at 3 Eastern, we'll have the final round coverage of the Tour Championship for you here on ABC. Billy Mayfair and Corey Pavin are up top the leaderboard. And the season-ending honors will be decided at Southern Hills in Tulsa. That's tomorrow, right here on ABC Sports.
Minnesota again going to a hurry-up scheme, no huddle. They're trying to spread the field, top to bottom, all the way across this. Get that defense a little bit thinner, thin it out.
Sauter looking to throw, completing it to Thelwell. And Ryan Thelwell has a first down. Rob Sweat, number 44, on the coverage for Michigan.
You know, if they get this thing in gear, Minnesota can go after you. They average 32 points a game. They rank 2nd in the Big Ten with 261 yards a game passing, and 3rd in the Big Ten in scoring offense.
And they're going with that hurry-up offense. 6.5 minutes to go in the half. Sauter calling it from the line of scrimmage. Javon Jackson looked to go the wrong way. Again, a mix-up in the backfield, and William Carr was waiting for him, as Sauter, I think, expected him to be on the other side. I don't know whether it was Sauter or Jackson who made the mistake, but there's no communication back there.
Yeah, that's the second time we've seen that. He turns to his right and looks to his right. Jackson went to his left. Now Jackson says, whoops, takes the handoff inside. By that time, it's way too late. William Carr's sitting there waiting for him.
That may be one of those things that's inherent, however, when you do the audible call in the hurry-up offense. Maybe Jackson didn't get the call or something. I don't know. No back offense now. Sauter to throw, and this one's complete. Short of a first down at about the 38 of Michigan. Ryan Thelwell dropped by Anderson and Winters.
See, I like this. They come right back up to the line of scrimmage, no huddle again. They're forcing Michigan to keep the same personnel on the ground. They also are in some kind of a rhythm. This is a big third down call here.
Raphael Cooper back in at tailback. It is 3rd and 3. Cooper on the delay, tripped up in the backfield. He will just get back to the line of scrimmage. That is all. Trent Zankowitz and Ben Huff with the penetration for Michigan.
That's all right. If I'm Minnesota here, I'm going for it on 4th down now. You're down 21-0. You still have 5 minutes to play in the half. Guarantee you I'd go on 4th down and just under 5.
And that's what Jim Wacker has elected to do. Javon Jackson back in at running back. 3 wideouts to the right. Jackson in motion. Sauter with a short drop over the middle, complete for the first down. Johnny Woodson and Marcus Ray, the free safety, had to make the tackle down at the 25. And on 4th down and 3, Sauter and Woodson hook up for a big first down.
Boy, this is a good looking play. They went trips to the right and then sent motion to the left. Now watch Woodson. He's the number 2 receiver. The inside receiver always has more room to work with. Watch this now. He's looking for a block from Thelwell. Doesn't get it, so he runs right up Thelwell's back. They move the chains, first down. Gutsy call by Wacker, and they continue to move the chains.
Just over 4 minutes to go in the half. 1st and 10, Minnesota at the Michigan 25. Javon Jackson cutting up nicely. Still going. And down near the 17. Trent Zankowitz, a senior out of Cleveland, at 265, finally dragged him down.
Minnesota was unconscious in the first quarter, but they're playing now. You know, 7 players on the Minnesota roster from the state of Michigan. This is a big game. The Little Brown Jug is big too, but these kids from Michigan can't take that home with them. What they can take home is a win, or at least a respectable performance. There's more pressure on the Wolverines today, I think, who are a 30 touchdown favorite.
Good point. Raphael Cooper back in the backfield. 2nd and short. Cooper, first down, inside the 15 to about the 13. Steve King, the strong safety, and Rashid Simmons, number 55, on the stop.
It's important that Minnesota gets a touchdown here. I'll tell you why. The defense now has regrouped, made some adjustments. They've stopped Michigan now 4 times defensively. Now the offense has to get that high gear offense into the end zone. They average 32 points a game, haven't even been close yet here in the first half. This is as close as they've been. They've got to make it count.
10th play of the drive, and timeout call.
Good call. He was down to 2 on the play clock, and he hadn't even started to bark out the signals yet. So rather than take a delay of game and move him out of there, he took the timeout.
Minnesota with 1 timeout remaining. 2:54 left to go in the first half.
Recently, the Broncos and 49ers showcased their talents in
I'll tell you how the game has changed here in the second quarter. Michigan has no first downs in this second quarter at all. Minnesota's been the one to move the football.
They're trying to get into the end zone. They still trail 21-0, however. They have less than 3 minutes remaining in the half. Sauter from the shotgun. And he's just going to throw this one into the band.
Coming up at halftime on the Prudential Halftime Report, we'll have all the day's scores and highlights, including another look at Northwestern, the surprise team of the year, and a winner again today.
Thank you, John. That's moments away. The Prudential Halftime Report. Second down and 10. Still at the 13 of Michigan. Looking in the end zone, Thelwell, touchdown. No, he couldn't hold on. He had it and dropped it. And Sauter can't believe it. Right in his hands. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Well, I tell you, they got him working against Ray, who's 5'11". He's 6'2". Watch this. One-on-one coverage. Man coverage to that side. Good inside move. Swims past him, goes up. He's got to make that catch. The ball's well thrown. Should have been a touchdown. Instead, it's 3rd down and 10. This formation's been good for him. See how they spread all the way across the field? They spread the defense thin it out.
They're coming with a blitz. Sauter gets it away. It's up for grabs. Incomplete. Winners almost came up with it. Rob Sweat was right in Sauter's face, and it'll be 4th and 10, and the field goal unit is coming on for Minnesota.
Well, at least they should get 3 out of this. Mike Chalberg, one of the best place kickers in the country. Here comes the blitz. They worked it effectively. Sweat came through free. Sauter just put it up and hoped one of his guys could get to it. That takes some of the air out of the Golden Gophers, I'll tell you that. They really felt like they could get and had to get 7 points.
Yep. 2:41 to go in the half. Mike Chalberg is 7 of 8 kicking field goals. This will be a 30-yard attempt. And it'll be into the wind. And it is good. So it's 21-3 Michigan. The second quarter really has belonged to Minnesota. As you pointed out earlier, Tim, no first downs for Michigan in the second quarter. But Minnesota, although they move the football, has been unable to punch it in, with the exception of the field goal.
Jim Wacker trying to build on the positives, trying to get his guys, keep them going. They've got things going in the right direction now. Although he is disappointed, they had 7 and should have gotten 7. With Thelwell, that's a rare miss for him, too. Here's a guy that came into the game with 40 receptions, very rarely drops one. He had 10 receptions against Northwestern while he was being banged around. Ranks 1st in the conference, and he dropped a short touchdown.
Again, we remind you the Prudential Halftime Report coming up. John Saunders with the scores and the highlights. And action highlights from Champaign, Illinois. Lewis Johnson reports on this season's most surprising success, those Northwestern Wildcats. A 63-yard drive. They ate up 5 minutes on the clock, and the 30-yard field goal, not exactly what they would have most liked to have, but they're doing another thing, Tim. They've kept the ball away from Michigan a lot in the second quarter.
Yeah, they sure have. Now they just have to make sure that they cover on this kick. I know the front line of Michigan spreading out and looking for anything strange in case they get an onside, but I doubt it here. They don't want to shorten the field and give it back to Michigan here. They want to kick it deep and just make sure there's no return.
Mercury Hayes on the left, Clarence Williams on the right. Mike Chalberg will kick it off. Into the wind, and it hangs up big time. Very short kick. Now it takes a roll. That ball's alive. Anybody can get it. And at the 34, Minnesota thinks they have it.
They got it.
First down, Minnesota. Raphael Cooper was down there on special teams. I don't know if he's the one who got it or not. They're still unpiling him.
You know, it's amazing, Steve. I don't think that was one of those sunshine kicks. That was not one of the high short ones to let you guys down. Moore comes up with it, but, you know, he kicked it into the wind. I think he just undercut it.
Looked like Dan Moore did get it.
If you're on the special teams, you never want the ball to hit the ground. Don't let it hit the ground. And once it does, you've got to cover it. Now the white jerseys start flying in there. They get it back. This is a huge turnover for Minnesota.
Michigan really tentative, and Minnesota comes up with it. Dan Moore recovered it. Javon Jackson to the 30 of Michigan. Clock running with less than 2.5 minutes to go. Jarrett Irons on the stop for the Wolverines. Gain of 4. It'll be 2nd and 6.
Minnesota has had great success with their formations, going sideline to sideline, taking the wide receivers. They've created air by spreading Michigan's defense thin. Look at this. They've got to spread so far across that field. The gaps are so wide. Now you can run or pass.
Delay to Jackson. Trying to find a hole. There's nothing there but blue shirts. Glenn Steele, number 81, leading the charge. Got some help from William Carr. And virtually no gain on the play. Maybe even a loss of about the length of the football. Clock still running with 1:43 left in the half. William Carr shaken up on the play. And now limping to the near side. Tell you what, got to be hard to hurt William. Clock stops on the injury and now restarts again with less than 1:40. Third down and 6. Minnesota at the Michigan 30.
Keep an eye on Woodson. He's working against Clarence Thompson.
Fake short, went long. His arm was hit. A flag is down. The pass intended for Thelwell, who may have been held on the play, and it looked like Josh Williams got a piece of Corey Sauter as he tried to let that ball go.
I thought it was Woodson, Charles Woodson, the freshman. Bottom line is there is a flag down. It looks like it's going to be against Michigan.
Holding against Michigan. Josh Williams was in Sauter's face and may have hit his arm as he threw the ball, but the penalty is not there. It's down the field with Thelwell.
Watch the bottom left of your hand. There's Woodson, reaches out and grabs Thelwell, number 4. Just held him as he ran by and then fell.
Automatic first down.
That's defensive holding. They move the chains. That's a first down from Minnesota. And once again, the Golden Gophers inside the 20 now with 1:22 left. Plenty of time in the first half.
And Minnesota has just one timeout remaining. The clock shows 1:22.
That was a freshman mistake by Charles Woodson, the cornerback. I told you to watch Woodson, and there he was found guilty. He's just a freshman.
Cooper going in motion. Sauter with good protection. Thelwell inside the 5 to about the 2 in the grasp of Rob Sweat. That's a gain of 18. The clock stops on the first down with 1:16 to go. And William Carr is back into the game for Michigan.
Watch Thelwell, bottom of your screen, left side, working on the freshman, comes in, it's a zone, and on the post pattern. Now you don't want to rush it. You've got 1:03 on the clock. You want that clock to melt totally, so after you score, Michigan has no time left.
First and goal from about the 2.5. Cooper, did he get there? Yes, touchdown, right on the goal line in the grasp of Jarrett Irons. It's a touchdown, Minnesota, but a penalty flag is down. A penalty marker thrown in the end zone as Cooper just did break the plane.
That's not the only thing thrown in the end zone. They're throwing marshmallows in that corner, and the fans better be careful or they'll get a flag for unsportsmanlike conduct on the crowd. Look at all the marshmallows there. Maybe they're throwing mushrooms too. Who knows?
Defense, 12 men on the field. The touchdown is good.
So Michigan had 12 guys on the field. Cooper still scores as they will obviously decline the penalty.
Well, we told you Cooper's a talent. Told you he's going to break one here. He just out races him to the corner and struggles to get the ball and break the plane, and he does. You know, they've got to be careful with those marshmallows. One hit the referee.
Yeah, I saw that.
It's a good play. They might have scored too quickly here. Still 47 seconds to go. But when you don't want to take any chances, that's great pursuit by Jarrett Irons, 37, just not there early enough.
The extra point is good, and the complexion of the game has changed dramatically with the turnovers and Minnesota's ability to capitalize. 47 seconds left, and Michigan leading 21-0 in the first quarter, now leads by only 11 near the end of the half.
It's been a huge turnaround. You're exactly right. Michigan dominated. It was 21-0 in a heartbeat, and we said, oh, what a long day this is going to be. But give that guy right there a lot of credit. Jim Wacker's got his team, brings them together. They didn't panic. They started playing. They made some adjustments. They're playing now. They've dominated the second quarter, and they're back in this thing.
Jim Wacker talking to his kicker, Mike Chalberg, about what he might want to do here with 47 seconds remaining. And Michigan huddling on the near side with the offense, trying to decide what they want to do. That penalty is now going to be assessed on the kickoff. And Minnesota's going to be able to kick from the 50-yard line.
I'll tell you this, now with 47 seconds left and kicking from midfield, I would think about an onside kick.
Michigan thinks they are too, because they got a bunch of guys up at the 40.
Yeah, but they'll spread out. You watch when the referee blows his whistle, they'll go ahead and spread a little bit and give Chalberg a little bit more room. See, there they go now. They're widening out.
Chalberg kicks it deep, very deep. Hayes, 2 yards deep, is going to bring it out. And he's in big trouble. Mercury Hayes with a fine effort just to get out across the 10. Greg Nelson, number 9, ran him out of bounds.
Yeah, but they get a break here because they're going to call a face mask penalty on Minnesota.
Nelson may have had a hold of the face mask. The flag was thrown at about the 3, which is where Nelson got a hold of Mercury Hayes first.
I think this is against Minnesota for face mask. He called it on Michigan.
Good heavens.
They called the stiff arm on Michigan. Stiff arm face mask. That'll move them half the distance.
How many games do you see an offensive face mask? And we've had 2.
Face mask on the receiving team. Half the distance to the goal. First down.
I was looking at the wrong hand.
I'm telling you, this is unbelievable.
Watch this now. Here comes the tackle. I thought his right hand was right up there by the face mask, and there's the stiff arm.
No, as you can see, Hayes had a hold of Nelson's face mask, and he kept a hold of it.
See, I thought the white jersey had it first.
I'll tell you what, even though we don't see it very often, both these calls have been correct.
Watch the right hand here. Boom. See, I thought it was up there, and I thought they both had each other's face masks. They call it against Michigan, move them back half the distance. They start deep by the goal line.
Michigan just trying to bump it out of there. Greasy pushing behind the line for a gain of maybe a yard, maybe 2. Depends on where they mark it. 26 seconds now remaining in the half. The clock continuing to run. And Michigan going to be content apparently to let it run out, being this deep in their own territory, leading 21-10.
What a turnaround in this ball game, huh? Minnesota has put themselves right back in it. Now Jim can go into the locker room and tell his guys, look, you're 2 possessions away here. Touchdown, 2-point conversion, and a field goal, and we're tied.
Michigan's going to have to regain what they had in the first quarter. This crowd at homecoming at Michigan Stadium has gotten very quiet. Biakabatuka.
Biakabatuka breaks a tackle by Rodney Heath and takes it 52 yards. He broke 2 tackles at the line of scrimmage. Then they couldn't catch him. Boy, they were out of the blocks in a hurry. Watch this. Here comes Biakabatuka again. Minnesota catching blocks, not getting off blocks. He beats him to the corner, carries 2 guys in with him. It was 14-0 in a heartbeat. Then watch this. Here's Heath again, number 7, trying to stay up with Toomer. Number 18, Toomer, 6'4", and just runs by Heath. And it was 21-0.
What a throw by Greasy to hit Toomer in mid-stride.
Hey,
after a field goal, Cooper came back to score Minnesota's only touchdown.
That's right, Steve. Excuse me. I was going to say, give them a lot of credit. Minnesota never came out of its game plan, continued to run Cooper. That opened up. They spread the formations a little bit, created some air in the Michigan defense. Very successful. 21-10. Michigan did not have a first down in the second quarter. And Minnesota will have the ball first here to start the third.
Well, Michigan probably got a little talking to from Lloyd Carr because they let the air out of the bag there in the second quarter, it seemed like. Certainly Minnesota made some adjustments and capitalized on some things that Michigan was giving them. But stopping Michigan's offense defensively gave Minnesota's offense the opportunity to come back into the game.
I agree. Not only did Minnesota stop Michigan, but the band stopped Michigan. They've been trying to get out of this tunnel for the last 10 minutes. The band's now just getting off the field.
Michigan now will finally be able to come all the way across to the near side where their bench is located.
take a look at the halftime statistics. You can see it was two different ball games, first quarter, second quarter. Michigan now finally has a chance to come back on the field with the band off. But look at this, 153 rushing yards for Michigan, only 44 for Minnesota. The difference, the passing game allowed Minnesota to climb back in this thing, and the 2 turnovers. You look at the time of possession, Minnesota had the advantage there, but the turnovers were huge, came at opportune times, both for Michigan and Minnesota.
As always, the coaches like to talk about the kicking game and turnovers. Fans don't pay enough attention to it because the short punt of 23 yards and the field position that ensued was immediately negated by a turnover on the following play. Let's check out what happened during halftime, what John Spagnuolo has been able to find out. Spags.
Hey, Steve, get a load of this. I was stuck in the tunnel with both Michigan team and the Minnesota football team. They're waiting for the band to get off at halftime. Both teams very awkwardly stuck in the tunnel here. I had a chance to visit with both coaches. Jim Wacker said the second quarter went a lot better than the first quarter, I can tell you that. He wants to keep the momentum alive here as his offense gets the ball and the kickoff return here to start the second half. But Lloyd Carr was very upset. Said his offense has turned the football over. The penalties have hurt. The kickoff return turnover hurt his team. But again, they're stuck in the tunnel for about 5 minutes. It's not the way you want to get this football game going in the second half. Back to you, Steve.
Hey, Spags. Sure. I know that tunnel's not very big, and there are a lot of football players in pads, and you didn't have pads on.
I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Let me tell you that right now. You don't want to be stuck in a football tunnel with 2 angry football teams waiting to go out in the second half.
Hazard duty pay for Spags. Put those shoulder pads back on, pal.
Hey, Spags, I got a little information for you. Stay out of the corner where they're throwing marshmallows. They'll get you.
Well, Michigan now looks fired up, and they need to be, as the momentum went away. And in the second quarter, this crowd, almost 105,000 on hand for the 99th Michigan homecoming. Very quiet most of the second quarter.
Talked about Minnesota getting the ball first here to start the second half. This is going to be a big possession for them to climb back into this game.
Raphael Cooper and Greg Nelson are the deep men for Minnesota. Jay Feely, redshirt freshman out of Odessa, Florida, does the kicking off. And the second half is underway. Nelson, about 4 yards deep, decides to bring it out. Tripped up at about the 14. The tackle made by Andre Weathers.
It's a bad decision to bring that ball out. Anytime a kickoff takes you with your back away from where they're pursuing you, for instance, that had him running toward the back of the end zone. Don't stop, try to come back, and then try to get some yardage out of it. Just down it and bring it out to the 20.
Well, at the beginning of the game, Tim, we looked at your winning edges. How we doing?
Well, protect Sauter. Of course, they got to him a little bit. They sacked him early in the limited turnovers. Well, they had 2. So you can see that not only the early sacks, but they 4 sacks, 2 turnovers. And Cooper, well, they held him pretty much intact in the first half, but he'll get that 80 yards.
Sauter in there at quarterback, gives to Raphael Cooper at tailback, and Cooper gets a yard, maybe 2, that is all, into the middle of the Michigan defense. Trent Zankowitz, one of the senior leaders out of Cleveland, Ohio, on the stop. Again, let's check in with John Spagnuolo. Spags.
Yes, on the sideline, you can see the star running back from Minnesota with the cast on his left ankle. It's a walking cast, and you can see that this is the kind of thing he's going to have to wear for the next week or so. Raphael Cooper doing a good job in the lineup, but he hopes to get back in the lineup next week against Ohio State.
Thanks, John. That pass intended for Tony Levine, who wasn't looking. The ball thrown, and perhaps Sauter had to get rid of it too quickly.
Darkin's cast looks like a ski boot.
Doesn't it?
Look at that. Looks just like a ski boot.
That's amazing, the technology. Think about those old plaster monsters you used to have to
All you got to do is put some cleats on the bottom of that thing and let him go.
Hey, let her rip. Well, it is now 3rd and 9 for Minnesota, and they spread them out again. Sauter going from the shotgun. The out route to Theltwell incomplete. Sliding for the catch. He would have had enough for the first down. Charles Woodson had the coverage on Ryan Theltwell, but it's 4th and 9. And Minnesota will have to give it up on their opening possession.
That's a great picture right there. Jim Wacker knows that he should have made that catch. He knows that he's a little bit down now. Theltwell missed one earlier, and he's talking to him, saying, hey, look, you got 14-15 left in the third quarter. In the entire fourth quarter, don't get down on yourself. You can still win this game.
Garrison Harmon on to punt. Lamani Toomer back for Michigan. A low line drive that's going to bounce and roll. Taking a Minnesota roll down to about the 42 or 3 of Michigan.
You don't remember Jim Thacker, do you?
Jim Thacker,
announcer, Atlantic Coast Conference basketball.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, I'm a Grand Prix kind of guy.
I just hate it when we have to hurry.
Who's she kidding? She's just itching to...
14:06 to go in the third quarter. Michigan getting their first opportunity, leading 21-10 here in the second half. Greasy to Biaka Batuka, breaks through a hole, creates one actually, finally tripped up after a gain of about 4. Rodney Heath and Ben Langford tripped him up. And we'd like to welcome a new affiliate to the ABC television network. It's WTVG TV channel 13 in Toledo, Ohio, and today is their first day with us. We're proud to have them a part of ABC's college football team. 2nd and 5. Play action. Greasy wants to go long. Toomer out there again. He's got a touchdown. It worked in the first quarter for 75 yards. It works in the third quarter for 52 more. And another 6 points. Greasy to Toomer.
How effective has he been? Same play scored on the first half, only from the other side. He now has 4 catches, 147 yards.
Remy Hamilton on for yet another extra point. Reamsma the holder, and it's perfect. 13:27 to go in the third. Michigan comes right back, leading now 28-10.
Here we go. Whopper Junior Value Meal. Whopper for me and a double Whopper.
Thanks, man.
By Pontiac and your local Pontiac dealer. We are driving excitement. And Canon, who reminds you there's so much more you can do with a new color bubble jet printer from Canon. Michigan scores in 39 seconds, typical of what they've been doing as they kick it off. Greg Nelson trying to cut it back to the middle, tripped up as he gets close to the 15. And Michigan again with outstanding kick coverage by Andre Weathers, number 30, a reserve defensive back. Michigan's scoring drives today have been 39 seconds, 44 seconds, 34 seconds. That was the 75-yarder to Toomer. And a minute 58 was their longest drive.
That may come back to haunt them. They score so quickly they don't give the defense time to rest. Look at this, though. Toomer just running by the defensive backs. This time, number 2, Craig Scruggs, a freshman. He's only 5'9". Toomer's 6'4". We thought that size differential was going to be a factor. Speed differential has made the difference. And speed kills.
Boy, speed's been killing Minnesota. Sauter now will have to run. Blasted out of bounds. Marcus Ray came up first, and then Rob Sweat finished him off. But a pretty good gain on first down.
You know, to go back to what we were talking about, Toomer, Hayes, Reamersma, they give those quality targets to Greasy. Toomer's 6'4", Reamersma's 6'6". Minnesota's quarterbacks are just under 6 feet, but the speed has made the biggest difference.
Oh, Toomer just left him both times. 2 different guys, each of whom runs pretty well. Javon Jackson at tailback. Second down, about 5, and Jackson has the football. Nowhere to go. Nothing but blue shirts over there. Clarence Thompson up from the secondary, and defensive end Glenn Steele, number 81, sliding out as well. Jackson had no way to get around the corner. It's going to be 3rd and about 2.
I don't know if this has really been a factor. We talked about it early. This is Minnesota's first game on grass this year. They only played twice on grass all year, Michigan and Iowa. But it doesn't seem like they've adjusted to it well. They aren't hitting the corners crisply.
That's true. They play a lot of games on turf. Raphael Cooper goes in motion. Good protection. Now it breaks down as Sauter is sacked inside the 15 by big William Carr.
5 sacks today, and Carr just outlasted Giovanetti. Watch 96 going against 70. 70 looks like he's got him blocked, but he stays after him and just keeps coming. Oh, William Carr with his 4th sack of the year. Played some offense, you know that?
William was shaken up earlier in the game and doesn't look like it now.
They put him in offense last week into the backfield and just let him run up in there and block.
Out of the fridge. We have an injured Minnesota player in Tutu Atwell, whose given name is Shatarius. Goes by the nickname Tutu, and he was shaken up downfield at about the 35, now leaving under his own power.
Name was Shatarius, but his nephews and nieces couldn't say it. They just start calling him Tutu, and so it stuck.
That's how most nicknames happen, too. Well, not all.
Back to punt for Minnesota.
So Minnesota will have to punt from deep in their own territory again. Garrison Harmon on, and there's Amani Toomer at about his 47. Into the wind. Toomer fair catching it at the 45 of Minnesota, and Michigan again will enjoy outstanding field position after just a 30-yard punt. Yeah, Harmon's been into the wind the last 2 quarters.
Lloyd Carr's got to feel pretty good right now, and Jim Wacker's got to say, you know, we pulled ourselves back into this ball game. And we're only down by 11 at the half. We were getting the ball to start the second half, but the game now here in the second half starting like the first half did. And here Michigan with the second possession starting in Golden Gopher territory again.
They mark it closer to the 44. 1st and 10, Wolverines. Mercury Hayes in motion. Play action. Greasy on the bootleg. In and out of the hands of the normally sure-handed Reemsema. This time, Jay couldn't hold on. It'll be 2nd and 10. Hey, Monday night is action night here on ABC, as if Saturday afternoon isn't action as well. Jeff Fahey stars as the Marshal. And then the battle's on in the NFC Central. Eric Kramer and the Chicago Bears meet Warren Moon and the Minnesota Vikings. It's ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. Action Monday at 8 Eastern, 7 Central. A little black and blue action for you. 2nd and 10. Biakabatuka straight up the middle to about the 40 before he's pushed back. It'll be a gain of about 5. Crawford Jordan, the strong safety, came up to meet him.
Jordan on the tackle.
You know, there's been a name on the Minnesota defense, Timmy, that's been, I think, noticeable in its absence, and that's Justin Konzemius, their senior linebacker, number 20.
They've done a nice job keeping him out of there all day. He's an all-conference type guy, plays that strong side.
3rd and 5. Greasy under pressure, gets it away. Complete to Mercury Hayes, and Hayes tripped up, sliding out of bounds at about the 15. Don Williams may have saved a touchdown, and Greasy got that ball away with LeManzer Williams almost all over him.
You know, I want to tell you something. People around here talk so much about Scott Dreisbach being out of the game. When he comes back next week, he's the starter. Greasy, I think, is outstanding. Look at him. Hold on to the ball. They swat at it. He comes up and then throws a strike to Mercury Hayes. That ball is perfectly thrown. You see him swat at the ball, actually hit the ball, but he holds on with his 2 hands. He's fundamentally sound. He's very cerebral. He's smart. He never came off Hayes and threw to him and threw the perfect pass.
On 1st and 10, Biakabatuka straight ahead. Pounding for 3, but penalty flags are down. Raymond Baylor made the tackle, but the linesman threw a flag at the line of scrimmage.
You know, while we're waiting for that flag, let me tell you, Greasy's 6 for 11 with 2 touchdowns. This is going to be against Michigan. But Brian Greasy is a great story. He's an excellent pocket passer in high school. He turned down scholarships to be a walk-on here at Michigan. Came here without a scholarship.
Offense. Only 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 5 yards from the previous spot. Replay, 1st down.
Although while I tell you that Greasy only came here as a walk-on, it only took him 3 weeks to get that scholarship. They saw immediately he could play.
Well, he had the confidence, and of course, not only is it in the genes, but I'm sure that his dad, who of course was a Hall of Fame quarterback, has helped him a lot over the years about how to play the position, because he has tremendous poise. Stands in and hits Biakabatuka. And Bianca Batuka, trying to get at least the penalty yardage back, is down near the 20, dragged down by Craig Sauer, number 16.
Talk about Brian Griese's confidence. You know, he really felt strongly that he beat out Dreisbach in spring practice and really thought he should have been the starter against Virginia in the kickoff game, the very first game.
Well, that's the kind of confidence you want to have in a guy who you look to as a leader, and that, of course, is part of being a quarterback.
Well, just watch what he does now. Here's the setup. Boom. Looks downfield, knows backside pressure's coming, and he throws that ball to Bianca Batuka right in stride. He's very, very sharp.
Bianca Batuka hauled down at the line of scrimmage. Good penetration that time, and there's Kozemius. Just when we say we haven't called his name, Justin comes through and makes a play. Kozemius, a senior from Fargo, North Dakota.
Kozemius has good speed, too. You saw at that time. They moved him from strong safety to outside linebacker. He actually tracked that play down from the backside and caught Bianca Batuka. It's all over the field. He's durable. He's never missed a game. Good play there.
Now it is 3rd and 10, Michigan. Gracie from the pocket, complete inside the 10. It's going to be short of the first down, however, as Tooman made the reception and Sauer the tackle. It'll be 4th and about 3. Gracie again had pressure. This time it was Raymond Baylor.
It's a good point. He had to throw it. Didn't have time to look deep. Threw underneath. Not enough for the first, but pressure was coming from the inside.
So a field goal attempt. Remy Hamilton with Reemsma holding. They'll mark it at about the 16. It'll be a 26-yard attempt. Just inside the upright. It is good. And Remy Hamilton has now moved into 2nd place on the all-time Michigan kicking list. That's his 39th career field goal. Michigan now up 31-10 in the 3rd.
For years, in your passion for performance sedans, you look to Europe and you pay a painful price.
It's homecoming, but of course the autumn leaves are falling on the beautiful Michigan campus. And not too long before those autumn leaves of many colors will be replaced by one color, white.
You know, the weather today might be autumnal, but you can certainly feel winter right around the corner.
Jay Feely kicks it off. Cooper and Nelson are back, and this one way out of there with the wind at his back. Jay Feely, a redshirt freshman, banged that one out of there. So 1st and 10, Minnesota at the 20. Now trailing 31-10. We have 9:41 to go in the 3rd quarter. And the wind has started to pick up even more, and it's right in Minnesota's face. Minnesota's average field position now has been in the 2nd half from their own 17. The delay. Raphael Cooper can't get away. A really good defensive play. William Carr down on the bottom of that pile got a hold of one leg and will not let go.
This defense for Michigan this year has been forcing turnovers all year. They're giving up only 14 points a game. They allowed only 3 points in the 1st quarter last week against Indiana, and here they are now holding Minnesota, a team which averages 32, to just 10 points.
Sauter has time, throws it out and complete to Woodson, who tried to get enough for the first down. Clarence Thompson bumped him out of bounds, maybe a little short.
Another flag down.
A flag thrown in the Minnesota backfield. Tell you what, we talked about Greasy standing in there. Corey Sauters had to stand in there.
Holding. Offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay. 2nd down.
Well, instead of 3rd down and about a yard to go, it's now going to be 2nd down and about a quarter mile.
For Minnesota, that's 6 penalties today, 61 yards.
And this one moves them back inside the 10 to the 8. The ball would have been at the 29. So it's 2nd and 22.
Look at Lloyd Carr, who certainly understands defenses. He was the defensive coordinator when Gary Moeller was here, secondary coach for Bo Schembechler.
Here comes the blitz, but he gets it away. Cooper up to about the 14, and that is all. Rob Sweat and Jared Irons are there to stop him. Glenn Steele was coming hard from the left defensive end and almost got Corey Sauter.
Wolverines in that new defensive scheme that they're running this year also have great speed. But one thing they've always been able to do in whatever scheme they're in is be able to run to the football. Well, you get one guy there. Sure enough, if you can get one there, you're going to see 3 or 4 of those helmets around the ball.
Minnesota's only been able to come up with 2 third-down conversions out of 12. Thelwell, did he have it? No, he did not have possession. The ball hit the ground, as the official emphatically indicates. And so it'll be 4th down, Minnesota.
Jim Wacker says he caught it. Take a look at this. See for yourself. He extends, hits his hands. That's a catch. That's a catch. Up near the first down stakes. I don't know if he would have had it first, but that definitely was a catch. And Jim Wacker was right.
He was right there, too. He had a good view of it. But the officials say no. So Harmon punts into the wind again. Amani Toomer on one bounce. Has to retreat. He's in big trouble now inside his 40. Knocked down by Scott Williams, number 50, the man who snapped the football.
Well, you know, Wacker just has not been able to get a break today. They called the ball down one time in a fumble when definitely the quarterback's arm was going forward. Then this looked like a catch on a replay. They said it hit the ground. It was an incompletion.
Those are the kind of things when you're trying to come back that put the stake in the heart, hurt in a hurry.
And that's not to take anything away from Michigan, which really has dominated the ball game, but get a couple breaks like that, at least Minnesota would be in it.
Well, let's see what the Wolverines do. They have scored quickly when they have scored. Biaka Batuka gets the corner. Penalty flag down again, and Biaka Batuka's down at about the 48. Knocked down by Craig Scruggs and Craig Sauer. But a flag was thrown about where the block was being made on the corner, so Biaka Batuka could turn upfield.
Holding offense. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay. First down.
I'll tell you, the busiest guys on the field have been Steve Pammon and the officiating crew and the trainers on both sides. The guys that have been banged up. Let's get an update from John Saunders.
Steve, as you know, USC coming off the loss to Notre Dame and down big to Washington, but Kyle Walholtz 15 yards to Keyshawn Johnson, who has 92 yards in receptions. It set up the Rodney Sermons touchdown. They're back in at 21-7. Steve.
Thank you, John. Let's see if USC can come back. Greasy all day to throw and complete on the near sideline to Todd Richards, bumped out of bounds by Craig Scruggs.
I know Minnesota won't agree with me, but this is fun to watch now. Brian Greasy is in a rhythm. His steps are clean. His throws are crisp. He's putting the ball right there. His receivers now are running better routes. He's getting it to him. You know, he was just a hair off on a couple of other touchdown passes that were almost TDs. Boy, he's in rhythm now. He's got it going.
Well, the big plays are happening from the receivers, that's for sure. And Biaka Batuka, I don't know if he's carried 20 yet, but he's certainly got the yardage. Chris Floyd in a tailback for Michigan, and he has the football. Floyd cutting it up. Stopped about a yard short of the first down. Rodney Heath coming up along with Don Williams, who's in at safety in the secondary, number 15.
You know, when you run Floyd, it's a good change of pace from Biaka Batuka or Howard because he's 230 pounds. He can play both tailback and fullback. He's more of a hammer type runner. 225 pounds. He ran for over 4,000 yards and 49 touchdowns in high school. So they move him back and forth, and it's like a pitcher in baseball. It's a good changeup.
Yep, and now he stays in, and he'll run from the fullback in the offset position with Biaka Batuka back in at tailback. And Biaka Batuka has the pitch. Cannot get outside. What a fine play by Park Williams, the redshirt freshman linebacker, who broke through and got a little help from Rodney Heath as well to stop Biakabatuka short of the first down.
Boy, you're not kidding. That was a huge play. The crowd wants Michigan to go for it. I don't think Michigan's going to. I think they're going to punt it away. But Park Williams played his very first game last year against Penn State, tore up his knee, and was redshirted. Coming back now, it's just like starting all over again. But that was a big-time play.
Well, Michigan hasn't punted off, and Nate DeLong was shaken up earlier after his first punt on a block downfield. He's apparently all right now. Rodney Heath back for Minnesota. Very high kick, the wind behind him. Heath will take it at the 12 on a fair catch. So field position again belongs to Michigan, as well as a 21-point lead. That was a 40-yard punt, and we have 6:10 remaining in the third quarter.
Outstanding game by Brian Greasy today. You know, Michigan last week had 7 receivers catch the ball. Today they've already used 5. They're spreading it around, they're moving the ball, and they've got 31 points on the board.
Again, Minnesota trying to go quickly. Javon Jackson in at tailback. Sauter will throw a little screen underneath to Woodson, trying to cut across field. He cannot. Picked up a little bit of yardage, but William Carr dragged him down. Let's go down to John Spagnola.
Thanks, Steve. You know, some of the changes Lloyd Carr made when he took over as coach of this football team was to eliminate using these maze footballs to show off whether players made good plays during the course of the game. He wanted to emphasize the team concept. I'm going to put this thing on because the marshmallows are coming at me.
Hey, Spags.
Okay, now fire.
Spags, you want us to get you some hot chocolate to go with those marshmallows?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, look at him with that helmet. That's a huge hat. What size is that hat, Spags?
This is an 8.5 helmet, and it even handles the frozen marshmallows. I've learned a lot about these Michigan fans. I can tell you that right now.
Plus, it's big enough to get the microphone up under. That's pretty good.
What size?
Was not in the neutral zone. The quarterback down the ball. 3rd down.
3rd down. Hey, Spags, what size helmet did you wear with the Eagles?
Thank you.
I don't think he can.
No, he's dodging marshmallows. You know, that looking at that helmet, it was Fritz Chrysler who put stripes on that unique Michigan helmet so his quarterbacks could recognize and pick out his receivers well. And that's why Michigan has those stripes on that hat.
I lost communications there for a second, guys. I thought this was like an NFL helmet with the radio inside of it, but my IFB came out.
Ryan Thelwell makes the grab at the 20, but he's going to be about 3 yards short of the first down. They're going to give him forward progress to the 21. Charles Woodson made the stop, but Minnesota's going to have to give it up. And again, I think that previous play, they tried to trap Michigan in the neutral zone and wound up losing it down when the center snapped the ball and the official ruled that it was a play and there was no contact in the neutral zone. Toomer back. Garrison Harmon with a very low line drive. And this hits like a wedge shot again. Down in Minnesota territory at the 48. So Michigan just playing this whole third quarter in Minnesota's end of the field, a 27-yard punt. More football next Saturday here on ABC, and again at 3:30 Eastern time. Here's the lineup. Most of you will see Michigan, Michigan State. Many of you will see Penn State and Northwestern. Others will see Stanford, USC, LSU against Alabama, and Syracuse, Virginia Tech. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area and call your cable operator and see what's available pay-per-view. Michigan 1st and 10 at the Minnesota 48. Biakabatuka trying to get outside, and a good job by Rodney Heath to come up. Consemius was chasing him, and Heath came up to cut him down. A gain of just about 1 yard is all.
You mentioned that Biakabatuka was from Zaire through Canada, lived in Montreal. When he was 6, his parents moved, and you know, his high school coach brought him to Ann Arbor in 1992 for Michigan's summer camp here. Offensive coordinator Fred Jackson says he watched him and he says, man, he can shake his shoulders and get his feet underneath his body as quick as any receiver had ever seen, and they recruited him.
And he hadn't played that much football. Greasy firing it over the middle, complete to the tight end Reemsma. Tackled by Ben Langford and Justin Consemius. So Jay Reemsma finally getting a reception.
You know, you talked about Biaka Batuka not playing much football. He didn't start until he was 16. Here's another look at Greasy. Watch this now. Gets his footing, loses his footing, regains it, gets his balance, and throws the strike to Riemersma. He's a very heady player, very sure of himself, and everything he does is fundamentally sound.
Riemersma now on the left side. On third down. And Greasy's going long. Toomer with a diving catch. Amani Toomer has been all alone all day. Craig Scruggs had the coverage, but he was 5 or more yards away.
He's just spreading it around. He's getting all of his receivers involved in the game plan. He's hit 2 strikes to Toomer running the post pattern. So now he goes flag, takes him to the outside with a move that looked like he was going to go inside. Again, the ball's well thrown. Toomer over his head. Tough catch, but he makes it.
So it's 1st and 10. Michigan now at the Minnesota 11. Biaka Batuka down to about the 6 for a gain of 5. Hammered by Konzemius. 2:25 left to go in the third quarter. And just like the first quarter, Michigan has maintained command.
Well, you talk about a day. How about Brian Greasy? 11 for 16, 259 yards and 2 touchdowns. That is impressive.
He's thrown short, he's thrown long, he's thrown intermediate as well, and all pretty much successfully.
And he's been bothered by a bruised shoulder, but he played through that last week, and he's playing through it here today.
Gets it away. Touchdown, Michigan. Chris Howard. Greasy was under tremendous pressure, took another hit. Konzemius was blitzing, and Chris Howard out of the backfield for another Michigan touchdown.
You talked about the blitz. I don't even think Greasy saw this touchdown. Watch this. Release it, read it. He goes down. There it is. Touchdown, Michigan. Where's Brian Greasy? On his back. Never did see the touchdown. Now 12 for 17, 264 yards and 3 touchdowns.
And no INTs. Remy Hamilton is perfect yet again. 1:55 to go in the third. Michigan has come out smoking in the third quarter and now leads 38-10.
And now Greasy has used 7 receivers today. Same as he did last week. Spreads it around. He's been accurate. He's read the defenses. He's read the blitzes. He's got things off quickly. Watch it from this angle now. Here comes the blitz. He sees it, knows he's got to go quick, does, boom. Now he goes down and never does see the catch or the touchdown, but the ball was perfectly thrown. Great concentration, even better execution. Here's the release. There's the touchdown.
Michigan using all their weapons and using them very successfully. Minnesota's only success came in the second quarter so far, where they were able to shut down Michigan and also generate some kind of a drive. They have generated nothing offensively here in the third quarter. Greg Nelson and Raphael Cooper are back to receive the kickoff. And once again, Jay Feely, who's been busy, will hit it with the wind now swirling, not so much at his back. Picked up by Howard. And a big jam up that he tries to get through on the far sideline. Ray Kaiser.
Boy, what a day Brian's had. You know, you can talk all you want about Biaka Batuka, and he is a great athlete, and he's had a great day. But I don't think anybody's been any better than Brian Greasy.
Well, to get 264 yards and 3 touchdowns on just 12 completions shows you there's been some big plays. Sauter trying to throw on first down. He does. Raphael Cooper scampering out of bounds close to a first down up near the 33. Marcus Ray, the free safety, ran him out.
Cooper's never really gotten off today. He's had a pretty good day from what he's been able to do, but just swing him out of there. He's got some talent. They want to get him in the open field, but every time, for instance, in this case, Michigan uses the sideline almost like a 12th man. They just force him in that direction and run him out. Got to get Cooper in the middle of the field, give him some room to move.
Close enough that they're going to measure, and they'll have to bring the chains all the way across to do so. 1:44 to go in the third quarter. 38-10 Michigan, and Minnesota enjoying their best field position in the second half. And it is just enough for a first down.
You know, we felt coming into this ball game that for Minnesota to have success today against Michigan, and Cooper was going to have to get about 80 yards, at least 80 yards, which also would open up the passing game. Right now he's got 13 carries, 59 yards, so he's been somewhat effective, but they've hurt themselves with penalties and turnovers throughout the afternoon.
That's true. A couple of runs have been wiped out. Of course, Javon Jackson, who's in there now for Cooper at tailback, has been in there quite a bit himself.
Got to like Cooper, though, just a sophomore. He's a talent.
Tutu Atwell goes in motion on first down. Play action. Sauter has time, gets it away, and Jackson slips down at the line of scrimmage. May have even lost a little bit on the play. Free safety Chuck Winters covering him.
Sauter had all kinds of time here. Look at this. Just waiting. Finally goes underneath. You know, I can't understand why Minnesota has had such trouble with the turf, other than it is their first game on grass all year. But Michigan really hadn't had the slips.
No, I wonder if they're wearing different shoes. Obviously, you wouldn't want to wear the artificial turf shoes on the grass, but they seem to have a problem. Play action again. Corey Sauter now going to have to run. And he'll take a shot at about the 39 from Clint Koppenhaver. Koppenhaver in there as a reserve linebacker. He's a redshirt freshman. Number 43.
You know, actually, AstroTurf cleats on regular grass on good fields is not bad at all. We used to do it all the time when we played. The feeling is, though, that because of the rain here today, it might be a little bit soft. So you can see by these pictures that guys are wearing the half-inch cleat rather than the short multiple nipple AstroTurf cleats.
Third down 4 from the 39 of Minnesota. Good protection. And incomplete. Intended for Ryan Thelwell, who would have had just enough for the first down at the 45. But the pass underthrown. And Minnesota's going to have to punt it again. Sauter with Jim Wacker. He's completed 15 of 30 for 136 yards, but he has 2 INTs.
I like Jim Wacker a lot. Not only his enthusiasm and his knowledge of the game, but he's a great teacher. You can see how he's handling the young guys.
Harmon's punt taken on a bounce by Toomer. And Toomer down at the 20. Craig Scruggs was the first one to get down there and got an ankle. And a penalty flag is down again after a 41-yard punt. And we have holding on the return team, Michigan.
Preliminary indication of a holding penalty against Michigan.
Holding on the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, first down.
Well, that'll be from the spot of the foul, which was in advance of where Toomer was tackled. You see the situation being explained to Jim Wacker. And they're going to mark it now. Well, they are going to mark it from the spot where he was down. If they'd have marked it from where the penalty flag was thrown, it would have been less, but it's now inside the 10. Just 7 seconds remaining in the third quarter.
Look at Jimmy. He can still smile. He knows he's got a good, young, talented team. Defense has only 2 seniors on it. Everybody else is young, so it's going to be a good football team.
Well, he's been up against it today in many ways, not only against an outstanding Michigan team, but a lot of the breaks, as you pointed out, Timmy, have not gone his way. Gracie with a beautiful bootleg on first down, play action, and Riemersma bumped out of bounds after a short gain by Craig Sauer, his opposite number. Remersma starting to be more of a factor now.
Yeah, but I tell you what, he's a former quarterback. He may go back to the huddle this time, and when Brian gets here, say, hey, don't do me any favors. I mean, you threw that ball to me short and set me up, and they just drilled me.
Well, he's a good guy to have on the offensive line. Being a former quarterback, knowing the offense, he's in on all the calls and can really help those guys up front. This should be the final play of the third quarter. Biakabatuka finds a hole, just tripped up. He's going to be a little short of the first down. Ogun Akbar, number 51, got a hand on him. And that is the end of the third quarter. The score, Michigan 38, Minnesota 10. We're back with more from Ann Arbor after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Today, a woman needs a life insurance plan of her own.
State Farm sells life insurance from an agent who's there for you today and there tomorrow, too. You see, we start you out right with a plan specifically designed for a woman's needs. One that protects the people who count on you for so very much. And the State Farm agent will be there tomorrow, too, as your life changes, to keep that plan working for the people you love.
State Farm sells life insurance.
Get on your Pontiac and drive, drive, drive.
Did you ever dream of driving in a Grand Prix? The sound of a 215 horsepower 24-valve engine roaring to life. The hold of the four-wheel independent suspension yearning for the next turn. The sense of control from a cockpit designed for driving. Then you know why the Pontiac Grand Prix is named Grand Prix.
We are driving excitement, Pontiac.
2 new Beatles songs, the most anticipated event in 30 years, an event no one thought would ever happen. The Beatles Anthology, November 19th.
If you're getting the idea that Northwest Tire and Service carries America's best-selling name brand tires, you're getting the right idea. Now stop in and discover our everyday low prices.
Shop Northwest Tire's warehouse sale for incredibly low prices on 40,000-mile Goodyear tires, starting at just $19.99.
Northwest Tire and Service. Name brand tires, everyday low prices.
With 450 new vehicles in stock and on sale, there's no shortage at the world's largest Buick GMC truck showplace. For example, choose from 25 Rivieras and save up to $5,000. Choose from 55 LeSabres and save up to $6,000. Choose from 25 Roadmasters and save up to $6,100.
Plain Buick GMC, proud to lead the way.
Don't forget to set your clocks back 1 hour tonight.
The final 15 from Ann Arbor. Not too many folks have left on this homecoming Saturday, a late Saturday afternoon at the height of autumn. Steve Zabriskie, Tim Brandt, and John Spagnola, glad you're with us as we begin the fourth quarter. Michigan on 3rd and 1, very close to the first down. It is enough. Biakabatuka picking up more than the needed 1 yard by the length of the football.
What a talent he is. What a game he's had today. Biakabatuka, 17 carries, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. You know, rushing yards per game. Today, Michigan's allowed only 51 yards. So Minnesota's had 51 yards rushing. Biakabatuka's had 135 by himself.
That's right. He's got it again. Breaking through again. First down and then some. Biakabatuka still going. Finally hog-tied by Don Williams, the safety. But Biakabatuka takes it down near the Minnesota 20.
Look at the smile on his face. Guys are going to dog him about getting caught from behind, but he had a pursuit angle. But watch this. Number 1, he explodes to the line. Then watch him break some tackles. Then he gets to the sideline. He'll break another tackle right here. And how he stays in bounds with his great balance. Look at this. And then the pursuit angle finally tracks him down. He wanted the face mask. No flag was called. Watch him come high on the head and try to behead him. Williams grabs high and takes his face mask. Fortunately, Biaka Batuka just goes with it, lets his body follow his head. Otherwise, there could have been an injury there.
Bulldog down after a 60-yard gain. Ed Davis in a tailback, banging straight ahead, and Davis down to the 11. Michigan with a tight formation that time, and again it was Don Williams, number 15, who had to make the stop in the secondary.
Ed Davis, one of those seniors. You know, he was a redshirt in 1991 after being named to the Super Prep High School All-American team. He had to really scrap for playing time behind Wheatley, Powers, and Biaka Batuka. Finally got some. Very quick, elusive back. But because of Biaka Batuka and Howard now, he doesn't get as much playing time as he would like.
Davis remains in the game. 1st and 10, or 2nd down, rather, and about 1. Davis trying to get the 1st down, and it's going to be awful close. I don't think he got it. He needed to cross the 10. Stopped at about the 10.5. Maybe the 11.
After that run, Biaka Batuka right up there around 200 yards for the day. He's about 1 yard shy of that mark.
$13:20 left to go in the game. Michigan came out in the 3rd quarter and just took command of what was an 11-point game, leading now 38-10 and driving with a 3rd and 1 at the Minnesota 11. Davis looking for a hole, has the 1st down as he gets it across the 9.
You know, if you look at these, they're a little bit misleading. I mean, look at the time of possession down the bottom line. Time of possession is owned by Minnesota. Why is that? Well, I'll tell you why. Because Michigan scores so fast. Now go down to the middle, the rushing yards. 242 rushing yards by Michigan, and 199 of those are by Biaka Batuka. He's only 6 yards shy of his career high, but I'm not sure we'll see Biaka Batuka anymore today.
1st and goal, Michigan. Ed Davis still in there at tailback, running hard down to the 6 or 7 in the grasp of Crawford Jordan, the strong safety, and Park Williams, the middle linebacker.
Lloyd Carr, head coach in Michigan, now substituting freely, trying to get as many guys into the ball game as he can. Now Ty Streets comes out, and Toomer comes back in. So if I'm playing defense, I'm saying watch Toomer.
A little look at what the top 25, or at least part of them, are doing today. 2nd and goal. Greasy with time. Touchdown! Remersma.
I thought there'd be a flag for celebration in the end zone. There is none.
Yeah, but there's some celebration among the 105,000, almost that many here.
Boy, if they really picked on Rodney Heath today. Here's Remersma again. He's the big tight end, 6'6". Boom. Here comes Heath, the young junior at 5'10". Of course, they were in more of a zone there, it looked like.
Remy Hamilton on for yet another extra point attempt. And again, it's right down the middle. Right down State Street here in Ann Arbor. 45-10, Michigan, with less than 12 left to play.
Just not Chili's till you light up the grill, and that means steaks, like our new Solano strip steak and new steak pico, smothered with onions, bell peppers, and 2 kinds of cheese. So round up the gang and herd them on down to Chili's. Chili's grills like no place else.
Hey, sports fans. Hitachi Ultravision destroys the myth that there's nothing like the real thing. So get real with Hitachi and let the games begin. Hello? Attention, theater buffs. With its ultra-clear, ultra-bright, ultra-sharp picture, Hitachi Ultravision asks the question, to be real or not to be? Bet you always thought Hamlet asked that. Ultravision home theater, TVs, VCRs, camcorders, only from Hitachi.
Penn State invades surprising Northwestern, LSU roars into Alabama, or other conference games in regional action. Next Saturday on ABC's College Football.
Brian Greasy having some kind of a career day. Both the 4 touchdowns and the yardage total, career highs for him. He has been phenomenal today. Cooper from the 15 to the 25 to the 26, and that is it. Minnesota now trailing by 35 points with 11:55 remaining in the game. Minnesota really had a chance in the second quarter. They couldn't punch it in a couple of times. They got to within 11, but Michigan came out after halftime and just took command of this game behind Brian Greasy.
Yeah, I agree. Jim Wacker had him climb back into the game there in the second period. Actually held Michigan without a first down and found themselves just 11 down at half, but they needed to come out in a quick start the second half and didn't do that.
Felwell trying to come back for the ball, cannot come up with it. Marcus Ray, the free safety, with a good play, had a chance as well. Let's go down to John Spagnola.
You know, one thing that Lloyd Carr, the head coach here at Michigan, wants to establish, guys, is a home field advantage. That's something they've lacked here at home over a period of time. If you look at the last 2.5 years, they have suffered 7 losses here at home, or 6 losses rather, and the previous 6 years there were only 7 losses. And that's you know, there's a lot of theories to that. We've heard about the way the bowl is shaped here. We've heard about the grass field. But one thing is sure, with Ohio State looming in the horizon, this team wants to establish the home field advantage.
You got that right, John. They're going to need it, and this used to be their house, and there was no doubt about it. Lately there has been some question, but not today necessarily.
I got to tell you, though, you're talking about home field, and then you show me 6 losses over almost 3 years. I mean, for most schools, that's the high point of their program.
Well, 105, almost 106,000 on hand. We've been saying close to 105. It's really almost 106. We're crammed in here for homecoming. The 99th Michigan homecoming.
Bottom line is they don't lose here very often.
Nope. They've set a real high standard. Sauter's pass dropped. And I'm telling you, there was an opportunity for Greg Nelson to be off to the races. Had he held on to that ball, he might have gone all the way. And that's right there, a little microcosm of the day Minnesota has had.
Well, Sauter put it right there. It was well thrown. That ball's got to be caught. It wasn't. I think the folks in Minnesota have to be a little bit frustrated watching this here today.
Well, Sauter hasn't had that bad a day either.
No, he hasn't. And this is a good young team.
Toomer's just going to let it roll, and it's going to take a Minnesota roll inside the 20.
One of the 4 don'ts of the kicking game. Don't be offsides. Don't clip. Don't let the ball hit the ground.
Well, the ball hit the ground, and it's a 62-yard punt by Tim Great. Goldie.
Yeah, they were pelting him with marshmallows. The camera got over there. See, now they cheer him. Now, here they come back with the marshmallows again. They're having fun at homecoming here in Ann Arbor.
They made it tough on Goldie today in more ways than one. College football on ABC Sports. Brought to you by Chevrolet Trucks, the most dependable, longest lasting trucks on the road. De Beers, a diamond is forever. Nike, who encourages you to participate in the lives of America's youth. And Burger King, where you can get your burger's worth. Jason Carr, son of head coach Lloyd Carr, is now in, relieving Bob Greasy, who had an outstanding day. And Ed Davis runs hard across the 20. Let's again check in, get another update. John Saunders. John.
USC trying to remain unbeaten in the Pac-10. Washington also with that identical 4-0 record. Brad Otten to Terry Barnum, 16 yards, and Washington may have the inside track if they can hang on to the Rose Bowl. Back to you.
Well, they're making it interesting, John. Thanks. USC trying to come back. 2nd and 4. We have 10:20 to go in the game. Michigan with a 35-point lead and the ball. And And Jason Carr in at quarterback. His first pass complete over the middle of Tooman, the tight end. And Jeremy Tooman has a first down near the 31. Craig Sauer, number 16, made the tackle. Jason Carr is a senior. Went to high school right here in Ann Arbor because his dad has been a coach at Michigan for 15 years. And when he's been called upon, he's done a pretty good job, Timmy.
He really has. And, you know, talking with Lloyd Carr yesterday in the coach's office, he was talking about what a thrill it is to be the head coach here at Michigan, but what a thrill it is and how often you have the opportunity to coach your own son.
That's right. Good protection. Complete again. Short of the first down, but a good first down gain nonetheless. Ty Streets making the catch, and Rodney Heath the tackle.
Jason, 6'1", 200-pound senior. You know, they're loaded. Not only did we talk about Scott Dreisbach earlier and what a game Brian Greasy's had, now Jason Carr comes in, but the guy that everybody here in Ann Arbor seems to really like is the freshman Tom Brady, who's 6'5", 215 pounds, and they say he is going to be sensational.
Well, they seem to be in good shape at quarterback for a while. Raymond Baylor, number 91 of Minnesota, is shaken up, injured at about the 27-yard line on the play. Here's the Big Ten today. Everything else is complete with Ohio State rolling, Northwestern winning again.
What a great story that is. How about Northwestern, if in fact they should go to the Rose Bowl, one of the best stories of the year.
Penn State with a big win, and Wisconsin beating Indiana. Baylor up now and being helped off the field.
Of course, as you mentioned, Ohio State continues to roll, and Buckeyes so strong this year.
I'll tell you what, I am not a big proponent of the polls, and I really think that this idea of waiting a month to start voting is a good idea, because Ohio State might be the best team in the country. They're certainly playing like it right now. And the Big Ten has shown that they're a great conference this year. Their out-of-conference record has been outstanding.
Well, although the Big Ten style is similar to what Nebraska does, it's not the same style as a Florida State, which is a very wide open, very, very fast attack.
That's true. Ed Davis again, pounding for the first down, out to about the 43 or 44. Peter Heastand, who's in the game now, along with Mark Cross, number 41 at linebacker, making the stop. Ed Davis, now a senior from nearby Detroit, over the years has been Mr. Solid in that Michigan backfield, done everything they've asked him to do.
You know, both coaches, both sidelines, the people in the stands now, everybody wants that clock to disappear. Still 9 minutes to go, but they want to melt it. I mean, Minnesota just wants to get out of here and get home, and Michigan doesn't want to embarrass anybody, and they don't want to get anybody hurt.
That's
so
right.
Let's get in the locker room right now, they're saying.
And they're taking a lot of time on every snap. Davis again, big hole. Ed Davis into Minnesota territory at the Gopher 47 before he's dragged down by Craig Scruggs in the secondary.
Boy, Michigan causes so many problems because, number one, there are multiple formations. They're two tight ends. They trade them. They flip-flop them. They've got great players to execute the offense. And, of course, Fred Jackson's done a very nice job as offensive coordinator. All the coaches have. So it's just so deep. And they do so many things that Michigan's so dangerous.
Chris Floyd now is in a tailback for Michigan. And he has the ball, but Minnesota's got him behind the line of scrimmage. Craig Sauer penetrating, number 16, to make the first hit. Sauer, the leading tackler for Minnesota. He, too, changed positions.
Boy, you talk about an ABC sports connection to the University of Michigan. You've got Dan Deerdorf, one of the all-time great players here. Bob Greasy's son is a quarterback, and here we are.
And Michigan will be on ABC next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern against Michigan State. 7.5 minutes to go in the game, and now Carr calls timeout as there was a little confusion in the offense. They'd made some substitutions. I don't know whether that contributed or not, but they stopped the clock with 7:27 left to go. We'll be back in a minute.
Weather advisory. There is a winter storm watch in effect for the entire area today. Seems like it's only going to get worse. So look, if you don't have to be out there, please get off the roads.
like flames from a fire.
Oh, you didn't get tomatoes?
Nah, I've been in kind of a rut lately. You know, I thought I'd mix it up a little bit. Whopper, no tomatoes.
Change your pace.
Exactly.
Expecting a weave and you bob.
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking zig, you zag.
Yeah.
You're a bold man.
The Whopper. It always tastes great because it's always fixed your way, with fries and a drink for just $2.99 every day at Burger King.
So, you out of your rut?
Believe I am.
You're rutless.
Enough with the ruts.
You've been ejected from the Rutmobile. No ruts, no glory.
Take cold. Take taste. Take smooth to the extreme. Bud Ice. Brewed to go beyond the others. To be an easier drinking ice. Take smooth to the extreme. Bud Ice.
Tamunga, Tim Biakabatuka, 1 yard short of 200 on the day, 10.5 yards a carry.
Only 6 yards short of his all-time career high. You know, hey, we need Spags. Spags, go tell Lloyd Card, put him back in for 1 6-yard carry.
You want me to go over there, Tim, and ask him, really?
Yeah, go ahead.
I will. You know what? I'll take a nip out of that little brown jug while I'm going over, too.
You better, because it'll be the last time you do a game here.
It's getting cold down here.
On third down, Jason Carr hits Ty Streets for the first down. Rodney Heath makes the stop, 1st and 10 at the 40.
Yeah, we're just kidding. Don't put Biakabatuka back in there. You don't want to even chance an injury. Here, Carr with a 3-step drop, fires a rocket. He comes in and looks good now. Carr's completing passes all over the lot. He's 3 for 3.
They keep driving. Clock keeps running. 7 minutes to go. Carr under some pressure gets it away. Incomplete again. Intended for Ty Streets, the true freshman wide receiver from Madison, Illinois. Craig Sauer, number 16, was coming hard, blitzing on Carr.
I know what you're thinking at home. We jinxed him. We said he was 3 for 3.
Hey, next Saturday, more college football. Michigan State, most of you will see right here on ABC at 3:30 Eastern, or Penn State Northwestern. Many of you will also see other regional action as well. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. Chris Floyd with a huge hole and a first down inside the 30. Greg Scruggs, who's been real busy in that secondary since coming into the game, had to make the tackle again.
Minnesota still can't load up specifically for the run because Carr's come in, and as we said, he's 3 for 4 passing, so they also still have to respect the pass. But at 45-10, a lot of folks at home will be saying, hey, why are they still passing? Got 6:40 left in the game. They're up 45-10. What are they trying to rub it in? That's not the case. What you've got Carr. Carr was a 13 quarterback. He wants to come in. He wants to play. Let him work the offense a little bit.
Plus the passes they're throwing are possession-type routes. There's a curl complete to Ty Streets, who has been Carr's favorite receiver, and Rodney Heath makes the stop again.
You know, this game is supposed to be fun. The guy Carr practices every day just like everybody else does, never gets the playing time. Let him get in and throw the football a little bit. You know, I'm one of those guys. I don't believe in running up the score either. When I say that, I mean I don't feel badly or I don't feel hard against a guy like Bobby Bowden for running up the score. You put the other guys in if they want to play and the other team can't stop them, that's fine.
How can you tell a third-team player not to go in and do well?
Can't do it. Let him play.
Floyd running behind a wall of blue shirts for short yardage down to around the 12-yard line. Ben Langsford, number 49, holding the fort for Minnesota.
A guy like Bobby Bowden or a guy like Tom Osborne, if they empty their bench, let everybody play, and still run up the score, there's no excuse for that. The defense has to stop them.
I agree, and I'll tell you one thing, until we get a playoff and get rid of the polls, it's going to be an issue because guys feel that that's the only way they can move up in the polls. Play action. Carr, nobody open now. He flips it incomplete. Was knocked down as he just tried to get rid of it as he was going out of bounds. Let's go down and check in with John Spagnola again. Spags.
Okay, Steve, you know, Jason Carr just made that play going out of bounds there. You know, he waited in line here to play quarterback behind Todd Collins. He got his shot this year, but his father told him back in spring practice, listen, if it's close, you're going to lose. You're a senior. I've got an outstanding freshman in Scott Dreisbach. I've got Brian Greasy, a sophomore, and if it's a close competition, which it turned out to be, you're going to lose out. A tough thing for a father to tell a son, but it's great to see Jason in here and doing well.
You got that right, Spags. Thanks. Carr's completed 4 of 6 passes for 38 yards, and this is the 13th play of this drive. Touchdown, Clarence Williams. Yet another tailback, and Clarence Williams, who came in early in the game, has looked good every time he's been in there. He is just a freshman, also from Detroit, and it's 51-10 Michigan.
Bianca Batuka's played, Howard's played, Davis has played. Now here comes Clarence Williams, the freshman, 5'9", 170 pounds, and watch him work. Twisting, turning, spinning like a whirling dervish into the end zone.
Now Jay Feely's going to get a chance to attempt an extra point, and he does. 5:16 to go in the game. 52-10, the Wolverines. It has been a happy homecoming for the Michigan faithful, and they look like they're going to have that little brown jug yet another year.
Well, you always know when something's up when another school schedules you for their homecoming.
Raphael Cooper and Greg Nelson are deep, and Felix kick taking it about the 6 by Cooper. Cooper's done a good job with all-purpose yards today, rushing, returning kicks, receiving. Brian Williams, number 32, made the stop.
52-10 homecoming. Boy, I tell you, when I was at Maryland, we played in so many homecomings, we took our own floats.
Hey, tomorrow, let's go back to golf at 3 Eastern. We'll have the final round of the Tour Championship for you. Billy Mayfair sits atop the leaderboard for these season-ending honors out the Southern Hills in Tulsa tomorrow at 3. Sauter looking to throw to Thelwell. First down. Ryan Thelwell up to about the 49 in the grasp of Marcus Ray.
Marcus Ray made the stop. That'll be a first down for Minnesota.
That stops the clock on the first down with 5:02 to go.
All the 49-yard line.
Well, it's a great program here at Michigan. You know, they've got 20 consecutive bowl trips, more Rose Bowl appearances, and more Rose wins than any other Big Ten team, and 102 All-Americans.
Wow. Cooper, I'll tell you what, as well as he's run when he's had the opportunity, it's got to make them feel good, at least, about the fact that Darkins has not been available to them, and hopefully he'll be back soon. Steve King, the strong safety, had to make the tackle on Cooper in the secondary.
You know, it's amazing to me. We've sat here, we've watched Michigan so effectively work that offense all day. Talking with Fred Jackson, the offensive coordinator, yesterday, he says, you know, I'm taking a lot of heat. Michigan ran the ball 8 straight times to start the Indiana game. And he says people are getting on me because I'm running too much.
Well, they have over 300 yards rushing today. They've scored 50 points plus. William Carr with yet another sack. Also, Brent Blackwell, number 24, had pressure. And Big William drops him. And that's at least 6 sacks for the Michigan defense today.
William Carr's played well. He came into the game with 2 sacks. He's got 3 here today.
Clock continuing to run with 3:35 remaining. The ball right at midfield, but now it's 3rd and 8 for Minnesota. First down. And a good reception by Ryan Hubbard, covered by Chuck Winters, the free safety. And Minnesota moving it down the field in the waning moments.
Well, it's impressive to see Minnesota not quitting. I mean, this is a young ball club. We talked about the defense having only 2 seniors. The offense, your main guys, Raphael Cooper's a sophomore. Your quarterback, Sauter's a sophomore. You know, so that Ryan Thelwell, top receiver, they're all sophomore. This is a young team, and Jim Wacker is just, hey, they continue to play and play hard, and that's impressive.
He's a good coach to have for a young team, too. He's so full of enthusiasm. Now they call time. Minnesota is about to run out on them. Less than 3 minutes left in the game. Michigan well in command. If time permits, we invite you to stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report. Scores and highlights from all across the country here on ABC Sports. Just under 3 minutes remaining in the game. It is 1st and 10 Minnesota. They have moved it to the Michigan 45. Corey Sauter with lots of time, looking long, incomplete, overthrown a little bit and knocked down by Diolo Anderson, the safety. Let's go down again to John Spagnuolo. Spags.
Steve, I think it's safe to say that the game is no longer in question, that the Little Brown Jug will indeed go to Michigan now for the 10th consecutive year. On one side of the jug, of course, you have the Michigan colors and the Michigan M on the other side, the Golden Gophers and the M from Minnesota. And as I said, for the 10th consecutive year, the Little Brown Jug will go to Michigan. So they will hold on to it for another year.
Thank you, John. I wonder if they ever play that song that we're playing right there, the Little Brown Jug.
You know, here they'll tell you it's the most famous of all college rivalry trophies, the Little Brown Jug. The Wolverines have won 8 straight coming into this game. It'll be 9 straight after today. Of course, Minnesota fans came in remembering the 1986 game that Chip Lohmiller kicked that 30-yard field goal as time ran out. But the Little Brown Jug's been around a while, and it's certainly is one of the great trophies in all of college football.
And it has a, you know, a certain sort of air about it, I guess you'd say. Being that it's an earthenware piece, it's not a trophy. It's just, I don't know, it's kind of special.
It's had a lot of players go on to win the Heisman and go into the Hall of Fame that have played in the Little Brown Jug games.
Whoa! Good reception on the near side, and you could hear Hutton get blasted out of bounds.
There's your slobber knocker. Noble. That's your slobber knocker for today.
That's today's slobber knocker right there, and it happened to Lee Hutton. Yeah, put me in, coach. I'm ready to play. 2:42 as the clock stops on the first down, and now it'll be restarted.
Hey, just listen to it. Just watch and listen. It's a great hit. I didn't hear a thing. I heard it up here when it really happened.
Yeah, it was actually pretty quiet hit. 2:32 to go. 1st and 10. Sauter trying to salvage something, and he's going to be caught. Good play by Ben Huff, who was blocked on the play, got up to his knees, and went after Sauter again. Number 53 Huff in there, a sophomore from Charlotte, North Carolina, on the defensive line. 2 minutes exactly remaining in the game. It's going to be 2nd down and 14 back around the 28. There's a good look at Huff.
Michigan has gotten to the quarterback 7 times today, 7 sacks. That's been huge.
Sauter completes it, and a good catch by Ryan Hubbard to go down and pick that off the grass. Tyrone Noble again, number 42 on the coverage. And that should be enough for a 1st down.
Minnesota continues to move the ball, no quit, in the Golden Gophers. They hustle back up to the line, 1:36 left. A lot of young players still getting some good experience here today. Not the exact way that they wanted to. I mean, they have been spanked. But they'll feel better if they get a touchdown here at the end of the game.
And the Michigan fans don't want it to happen. But it does. Minnesota with a touchdown. Nelson right in front of Tyrone Noble with 1 minute and 19 seconds remaining in the game.
Jim Wacker, the first to congratulate Sauter, a sophomore. It's Greg Nelson, another sophomore, that makes the catch. Young team. Look, he's still laughing. He knows, hey, your future is yet to come, buddy. You're just learning. Now, next year and the rest of this season, we'll put it all together.
And they just might. You've got a lot of good young players, as you said, Timmy.
You've got to like Jim Wacker. You got to like his attitude. You got to like the way he teaches these young kids.
Mike Chalberg on for the extra point, and as usual, he knocks it right down the middle. So with 1:19 to go, it's now 52-17 Michigan, and the Wolverines, incidentally, with the win today, will become the all-time leader in NCAA college football for victories. This will be 754 for Michigan.
And that guy right there, nobody has to make excuses for him or his team. 156 games that he's won. That puts him on a short list with Holtz and Bowden and Osborne and others.
Now let's get another update from John Saunders. John.
Steve, USC trailed this game 21-0 in the fourth quarter. 3 touchdowns later, all the way back. That one, Brad Otten, 2 yards to Johnny McWilliams. They kicked the point after for the tie because their better overall record gives them the inside track at the Rose Bowl. Steve.
Man, oh man, what a comeback by the Trojans, and that does sort of muddy those Rose Bowl waters in the Pac-10 a little bit, doesn't it?
Boy, it sure does. That's a great game.
There's Tyrone Butterfield and Clarence Williams who are back to receive. And before the kickoff, we want to let you know that the genuine Chevrolet most valuable players of the game are Brian Greasy from Michigan, who threw 4 touchdowns and 271 yards, and Raphael Cooper from Minnesota, who had 142 all-purpose yards today, running, receiving, and returning kicks. He's even in there covering kicks. Chevrolet, in celebrating its 25th year of NCAA sponsorship, will donate $1,000 to each team's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements. He gets a chance to return a kickoff, and he brings it out to about the 23.
Greasy and Cooper, the Chevrolet most valuable players in this ball game, but Biaka Batuka, of course, 199 yards. He had an outstanding game as well. Looking ahead at Michigan now, they go against Michigan State up in East Lansing. Then they're back home against Purdue. Then they go to Happy Valley to play Penn State. And then it's back here in Ann Arbor for the big one against Ohio State. And that game is huge. And being here in Ann Arbor is going to be a big one for Michigan.
I'll tell you, that's the game of the year right now. Jason Carr back in at quarterback. And there's the freshman again. Clarence Williams running hard as he has since he came in the game in the first quarter, replacing Biaka Batuka. Jermel Carr, number 39, made the tackle for Minnesota. Boy, they got a stable here at Michigan. Clarence Williams, the youngest of the group.
Keep in mind, the last couple of years have been very disappointing for Michigan fans. They've had 8-4 back-to-back seasons. Now they're 6-1. With this win today, they go to 7-1. And with 2 of their big games here and then going on the road against Michigan State and Penn State, I mean, they've got the opportunity to finish strongly. And Lloyd Carr in his first year having a big year.
And Carr completes another one. This one to Terrence Quinn, who's in the game at wide receiver, and Sean McMenemy makes the tackle for Minnesota. Clock stopped on the first down, 28 seconds left, and Michigan trying to make some substitutions quickly. Now 20 seconds. Carr comes out, and Scott Loeffler's in at quarterback. Clarence Williams right into the middle, and that ought to do it. Dion White makes the tackle, and the final seconds will be counted off by those fans who remain as the University of Michigan goes to 7-1 on the year, 3-1 in the Big Ten, with a huge 52-17 win over Minnesota here at homecoming and retaining the Little Brown Jug. Well, they think it's important. They're carrying it off. Amani Toomer with a big game. Biaka Batuka with a big game. Greasy with a big game. And a big win for Michigan. Here are the final updated Big Ten standings at the end of play today. Join us at 9 Eastern on Monday night. It's the Bears and the Vikings on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football. Steve Zabriskie for Tim Brand and John Spagnola saying so long from Ann Arbor.
This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.
Want to help a child in need? Call your local volunteer center or place of worship and ask how you can help. Children first.
Sunday, we're putting the bite on having a good time, so get into the groove and crash our party when you catch 1 full hour of America's Funniest Videos. Then, Raquel Welch has the scoop.
Clark Kent
Superman.
Will her kryptonite kiss destroy the Man of Steel? Sunday on ABC. It's Lois and Clark, following America's Funniest Videos.
At some banks, a checkbook is all you...